Greetings, folks, and welcome as we are in our, I can never say it right, our second to last,
Penultimate.
penultimate episode of The Hollowed. We're going to jump right into things and go around and meet our cast, who currently are in the wrong spot, so I've now put them in the right spot. So, as always, we will start with Sharon.
Hi, my name is Sharon Biswas. I'm a game designer, writer, and interactive artist. I'm also starting my new semester next week at NYU and Fordham, so that's going to be exciting. Yay, course adjustment right before classes start. I am playing Jad, who is a Dhampir bard of the College of Spirits, who just discovered he may have been multiple other things before this.
Next up, we have Anita.
Hello, I'm Anita, pronouns she, they, and I will be playing Elspeth Carter, our divine soul sorceress, who is going through some things right now. Elspeth uses she, her pronouns.
Next up, we have Don.
Hey everybody, I'm Don. He, him. I am playing Rakeesh, also he, him, and Rakeesh is Hobgoblin Rogue, ex-soldier and storyteller, and burying all of his existential crisis, multiple crises down low as he tries to keep on a game face for his new companions.
Next up, we have Carl.
I'm Carl, he, him pronouns, and I am playing Barzul, who apparently blurted out a dark secret and is dealing with those consequences.
And last but not least, we have Bird.
Hey, I'm Bird, he, him. I'm playing Tamarind, he, him, who is a gnomish warlock who just wants to ask, can't we all just get along?
Only if you don't kill me in my sleep, apparently. Well, no, try not to kill me in my sleep. That was the line, right?
I am Tall Squall. I am your DM for all of this, he, him pronouns, and you can find me all over the internet as Tall Squall. We do run our channel 100% for charity, benefiting Satchel's Last Resort, which, if you follow me anywhere, that's where my pupper Lunar came from. They are a great last chance rescue star, and if you are wanting to go out there and adopt a pet, please do consider rescue, and always keep in mind older dogs need homes too. With that, I think we will jump right in. Where we left off, the group had made their way through this tower, all the way up to this sort of very ominous laboratory area where they found a journal, they found a surgical table, and they and other different pieces of clues to some of the things that were going on around them and that happened to them during the campaign. Over the course of this, they realized that the person who was in this tower, one Gregor Zambarthne, was experimenting on all sorts of different people, and in fact using the lighting of the sanctuary pyre at Falconspire to bring even more people in and to experiment on them with these crystals that they saw firsthand, both before they met and then at the sort of refugee pit stop along the way, that corrupted people and turned them into these hollow shells that seemed to displace people from their very soul and their body. As they were reviewing some of this, they found out about a subject number 14, which seems to be what Tamarind encountered and fueling currently his warlock powers. Also along the way, Barzul, in his sort of past life before his soul got sort of transplanted into a gargoyle by one of these hollowed creatures, revealed in his past that he had kidnapped Elspeth's aunt, Elodie, and turned her over to a dark mage who was the first to sort of harness these some holy artifacts to then create these sort of unholy crystals. Rakeesh, up on the roof, discovered sort of a mortar to find that what they had experienced back at the refugee pit stop was in fact just another sort of infield experiment where they had launched a crystal into this gathering of refugees trying to escape from out in the wastelands, and to observe and hopefully learn so that they could recreate the success that they had unexpectedly with Subject 14, who escaped. That is pretty much where we left off. It is morning, the day after they first met, and the sun has risen. They've eaten some breakfast, had quite a few tense moments prior, but we find them after having discussed their next actions, finding a map that pointed out back in the wastelands, back the way that they come, a Site 2, perhaps someplace else that was performing these type of experiments, but also were reminded of the letter that they found, referencing the Stone Ravens, and that those sort of strange druids, servants of the Shadowfell, and the mysterious god of nature of this world, they had lit this sanctuary pyre in somewhat of protest to what they had discovered the San Barthanes were doing. They were making their decisions on which way to go. I've got one piece of housekeeping before we get started. In general, everybody who picks spells, pick your spells, but also just trying to recall who has the first dagger that was found on Gregor's body. I know Rakeesh has the second one that came out of the Drowned Maiden. Do you have both of them? Rakeesh, you have...
I don't think he took
Elspeth has one.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
He only took the jeweled.
They are matching. They are sort of a matching set, but each of you have one. That's fine. And then Elspeth, I believe you still have the ring after it was given back to you. Cool.
Yes.
The monster gave it back, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So, just so I've got that that piece of who's got what. So the morning, as I said, has come around. I think we left off as Elspeth was discussing with the others her desire to head towards the stone druids of Ravensrook. This strange winery and mysterious druids. When discussing Site 2, mentioning perhaps it was time for baby steps instead of trying to bite off sort of the next piece of this. Jad,
I think I'd also asked if someone can repair the glider.
correct.
I'd asked Elspeth, like, can she heal the glider? And she's like, no.
Yeah. I believe you would basically say scurried over the edge of the wall.
Yeah, I'm standing horizontally, and I'm like waiting for everyone to like follow.
So, as this discussion between Elspeth and the rest of the party, I know Bird was in and out. I do want to give you a chance to do any sort of chime in as Tamrint here as Elspeth is talking about direction.
Yeah, I mean, just to go into that right away, I know I missed most of that, but Tamron kind of made his opinions known the night prior. He is on this path with Elspeth going forward. And so while this conversation is happening, he's definitely taken a step back and more than likely is just kind of nodding along with what she has to say. Pretty much stuck in his conviction to follow her and get her where she wants to go safely, especially knowing that like there's people after her, that this could be very bad if it goes south. So if she's set on Ravensrook, he's ready to go.
Okay.
If the San Barthanes are responsible for this and responsible for the Hollowed and all the terror that comes with them, getting information to their enemies would probably prove more valuable than anything we could find at Site 2. That's at least my opinion.
hearing sort of, if like Elspeth's words about responsibility, Barzul will sort of turn. They are not the only ones. The first was quite some time. And above the table, tells them all, what was the Archmage's name again?
Gralvant.
Gravmont?
Yep. Gralvant. Gralvant.
And he will sort of... I do not know if they have picked up, but the first I knew was an Archmage, Gralvant.
Rakeesh is packing up his cooking supplies, like, cleaning a little bit, setting up his pack to travel. And he can't really make eye contact. He's going about his business, but he does speak and he responds saying, whoever it is that is responsible for everything that is happening right now, this is one story, but an important story in the wars that have ravaged this region. And right now, I will follow you, Elspeth, and your path that you choose, but I know in my heart there are people suffering in that site down below. Perhaps we can get help to them, but also perhaps we might be too late if we wait.
The information in the right hands will do more good in the long run. This might be a bigger picture. The broader story. The grander narrative. If that makes sense?
Yes. Yes.
It's not an
Ravensrook
easy.
said,
To Ravensrook.
Jad, as you are...
I'm squatting sideways on the wall, but I'm squatting waiting for everyone, but I'm horizontal.
Yeah. You're probably a good 15, 20 feet away. You certainly can hear them with your good hearing.
Yeah.
You hear that voice in your head. Someone's watching her. You get a figure of that familiar, dark figure looking into a pool of clear water where you see the image of Dalvan on the battlefield. A scrying spell. They must be very motivated. That's good to remember when it comes time to betray her. She'll make an excellent bargaining chip. The others, they're expendable, but they want her. We can use that.
I shiver. I shake my head and shiver because Jad at this point suspects he is two different people amalgamated, but doesn't know which one he is. He has a concept of he. And so he's going to be shake the arms, especially after he had a lovely cuddly night with one of said teammates. He's no, I mustn't be terrible to them.
Okay. So, how do y'all want to go about moving forward? Certainly, on foot, you are about probably still about 7 days away to take the road that you now have the map to. You do have some of those ambush points marked out. You've got this sort of war glider, sort of a hang glider type thing here. It is old. It does seem to be intact, but old and in some disrepair. You have a gargoyle with a big set of wings.
I've already called the gargoyle. Just saying, if we do flying.
Jad did call shotgun, unfortunately. So
Yeah.
he's dope. call it that.
How many people could this hang glider, take?
So you would know from your experience, you and Barzul would both know that it actually could carry basically a one soldier like in full heavy plate armor, or have could be used for like two smaller lightly armored type soldiers. So for infiltrations you could drop like two rogues off of it, but it's also a way to get like your tank to the front line, in in gaming terms.
Okay, question, not in character. Can we use like the sheets and stuff in the bedroom and use that to try and do like patchy repairs on the glider? Because then like Elspeth and Tamron can probably fit, and if we make some modifications, maybe Rakesh can fit, and then I can just mount the gargoyle and everything will be glorious.
So just in general, for what Barzul can carry, I thought a lot about this. So basically he could act like a parachute and carry everybody, but not be able to take elevation. He'd be able to slow a fall for all four of you, but not even necessarily glide forward. It would basically just be you don't plummet to the ground. I think easily could carry two of you. Certainly would be it would be a struggle. He would be at half speed. Would be able to gain elevation and things like that. But it would be his speed would be hindered if carrying two. With one, with a Tamarind, he would be at full speed. With a Jad, we'd say he'd probably still be at full speed. Jad and Rakesh, that would probably drop you to half speed. We'd have to think about if it was a Tamarind and a Jad, or however you all want to split things
Math.
up. But you get the idea. Is basically he can be a parachute for all four of you, but not much flying. Also, just a little bit of a general layout, and we're just going to sort of do it as north, south, east, west. Imagine it. It's not exactly this, but close enough. So north of you is, Falcon Spire, high up on the plateau, unseen up over the sort of the top of the plateau. To the south of you is actually the way the road is going right now, because the way that it sort of has to dogleg way out to gain elevation to go all the way up there. If you were to go south, just straight south, glide down from up here, you could probably knock 2 to 3 days off of your trip just by gliding down. If you go to the west, where the road sort of crosses back by where you are, but is still above you, probably 1 or 2 sort of circles with Barzul sort of dragging the glider and carrying someone to gain height. You'd be able to get yourself probably cut off 5 days off your trip. With a long multiple check climb, you would be able to attempt to get everyone, you don't want to fly directly to Falcon Spire, but get you at least sort of to where you would be a day out from Ravenrook.
Could I take like my explorer's pack and my rope and try to do like some basic whatever I can? I don't have mending or anything magical that helps with this. Repairs and touch up the glider and tie a rope to it that maybe we could, I don't know, wrap around Barzul's ankle.
Absolutely. Or his tail. I mean, you've seen
you've
seen basically where, here in Florida, we do hang gliding by. You're dragged into the air because there's no hill tall enough. So you could basically, that's the, to get all of you to a higher elevation than where you are now at the top of the tower, that's what you would need to do, is something like that. Certainly Elspeth, you have a medical kit, which means that you know how to suture. So I would be happy to allow you, to whatever catgut and things like that, if you wanted to do some repairs on the glider to help sort of raise its durability DC. I'm certainly all here for that. This is kind of a skill challenge of figuring out what you want to do to give you the best odds.
And we should use the bed sheeting to like patch up holes and things.
Yes, definitely. Speaking of the bed, what is the material of the pallet bed? Is it, say, a feather mattress?
No, probably it's probably better than straw, but it's probably not feather mattress. So it's I'd say it's more like a homespun cottony type idea. Sort of frayed cotton, things like that. don't think having and the birds around this area would not be anything that you would want to feather your bed with.
Just vulture
That's fair.
feathers.
Just
Um,
as a note, as you work out the things, both Barzul and Kishu, it's not a strength thing steering a war glider; it's a dexterity thing. Hint, hint, hint. So, for whoever wants to be involved in the actual that piece of it.
And if Rakesh is repairing it, I'm gonna blood breathe in his ear again, because I do that before anyone does anything major. So he gets a D4.
So
I mostly will just take the help action wherever I can. Tamarind, again, is more of a follower than a leader. So he's definitely just kind of like, let's say he's helping. He's mostly just sitting way too close and probably handing the wrong tool to people on a constant basis, but very excited about it.
Jad is not helping. After his blood breathing, he just stands and watches everyone. No.
I can contribute survival. I can contribute, and I could probably I have a good dexterity, so I can probably pilot if I need to.
So I think probably Elspeth with her med kit is probably gonna she could do a medicine check on it's not really healing but putting it together. But certainly with your survival, since you know how to lash, you know how to do things like that. I would say if you wanted to basically give her advantage by helping out.
Ooh, that's a great idea, because I have a thing I can give.
Or if you wanted to, again, you can either do advantage to Elspeth or the two of you roll together. And this would be your medicine kit check or medicine check, healing kit check, however you want. I think you have proficiency in both, and so they should be the same.
You get a D4.
I'll do the help action because of my Fey gift. So I can tell a story to Elspeth as we're working on this glider together. I'm going to give you the hospitality gift. So you get, you're also going to get 5 temporary hit points.
Nice.
That's good.
And the story, let's see. So he tells you, Rakesh, as you're working on this, and he's just sort of assisting as he can and preparing his kit for everything, tells you a story about an orcish knight. And he says, the greatest knight of the orcs of my island once walked to the beach and saw this beautiful maiden just off the shore. But he knew who this maiden was. She had died 3 years prior on this very day, drowned by the man she thought she loved. The orcish knight was heartbroken to see her there staring out into the sea, and he brought her 3 gifts to try to give her peace and rest. First, he brought her, and he's tying the knots as he's telling the story, a bundle of flowers from the woods, the rarest blooms from the jungle. But when he handed her the flowers, they withered and died, and she wept. He felt bad, and so he went back out into the jungle, and he brought her a coconut, thinking perhaps she had not eaten. He cracked the coconut in his hands, and he shared half with her. She took it, and she looked down at it, and it rotted from the inside to the out. She began to cry, even worse, and he was beginning to feel helpless that he could not help the spirit. And so he thought, if only she could see that she is not a monster, that she is not lost, that she is here, that she is still beautiful, and just as she was in life. And then he remembered his mother's mirror. And so he went back home to grab the mirror, and he brought the spirit, this mirror. When he held it up to her face, she began to scream. The mirror shattered into shards. And even the children who were sleeping could hear the scream in their dreams. And at last, not knowing what else to do, he embraced the spirit, and he held her in the water, and he said, "It is all right. I am with you." And then she breathed, and she sank into the ocean. He felt the shiver go up his spine. He never saw her again. But that spirit that you spoke to down beneath the tower, the one that you gave peace to, I believe that perhaps she was such a spirit, and what you did for her, Elspeth, was a great service, giving her peace.
Has Rakesh ever
you.
told this story before? Perhaps to an old compatriot?
Yeah, I bet he has. He's like a kind of like an old man. Like he probably has like, 25 good stories, but like once you've heard them all, he starts repeating them.
So as you say the story, Jad is not initially paying attention because he's like, oh, whatever, they're all working on the dumb thing, the glider. But as you start saying the story, it's this like niggling voice in his head, like, why have I heard this story before? And he's getting, and Tamarind, who's like hovering more, can see that Jad's getting like twitchy. And Jad, not normally, it's not very healthy to be around Jad when he's twitchy, but maybe it's different this time.
Okay.
It's a beautiful story. And I will roll a medicine check with advantage.
And a
then.
D4.
And a D4.
And a D4. That's a 12 for the first. We'll try that again. Only an 8, but we'll also roll the D4.
Yep. Ooh,
Well,
nice.
not bad, not bad.
And I
That's
have
not bad,
given
that's just-
her bardic inspiration as well.
Oh, great. So you can, what is your,
It's a D6.
and so you can do a D6, gosh, on your top of that.
Wait, at level, oh, but you're not level 5 bard,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. No.
Sorry.
And a 4.
So that's a 19 total.
Nice.
So is, yours was guidance. It wasn't bardic inspiration. I was gonna say, because you can't do two bards can't
Right,
do.
it's a
But
different,
yes,
yeah.
it
It is a class feature, but it's
Oh, yeah.
guidance, yeah.
No, that's very fine. That's cool. So, with a 19, it takes some time because there is quite a bit to do. But after you get the work on this, probably about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, because the more you get into it, you realize the more there is to do. Some things that would have snuck up on you, perhaps in the air, will not now. But you do get this put together. You feel pretty good about it. All of the sort of places where the poles intersect, the lashings all been redone right by Rakesh. A few of the holes where the sort of burlap and canvas had sort of rotten, you were able to reinforce it with the fresh fabric from the sheets down below, and with your sutures, you were able to put this together pretty well. And are pretty happy with it. Other than it did take, like I said, probably about 90 minutes. So we're probably looking at around 10-ish in the morning at this point, by the time that it's all set. But you finally do sort of step back, and you and Rakesh and look at your handiwork. And while it is definitely a bit of a quilt in its look, you're feeling pretty good about how sturdy it is.
I turn to Tamarind and I'm like, I'm not very handy. And then I pause because something in me saying I'm not very good at putting things together rings wrong to me, as though like, no, maybe I was. So I just stop myself from saying things. Because, one of my past lives might have sewn lots of corpses together. Who knows?
I think to that, Tamarind will kind of like cock his head to you, kind of having noticed how twitchy you've gotten and everything. And we'll actually extend a hand out to you, probably to touch, just on height wise. It's probably gonna be like knee level, or maybe like kind of upper thigh, just on the side, like not, just to make contact with you. Do you let him?
I will say, because I was talking to you, like I was just about to say something to you, Jad is less startled. Like he's actually like chatting to try and release the tension of like, I'm feeling very strange right now. What is the story Rakesh said? What? Yeah.
So yeah, he'll put his arm out, probably notice you maybe flinch a little bit, or at least feel like sense that tightness, and he won't remove his hand, but he'll kind of like touch you very gently, and just say, "Hey, that's okay. Up until 2 days ago, I haven't been good at anything ever.
I'm like, didn't you say you picked mushrooms?
Yeah, but I was terrible at it. I was so bad. It would take me 2 weeks to do what people could do in half a day.
What did you do instead of picking mushrooms?
Mostly just didn't do it. I didn't like being alone. I didn't like being out there and hearing things and getting a little overwhelmed.
Did you just sit there gazing into the ether?
I kind of just watched other people do it.
So then you're good at watching other people do things. That's a useful skill.
Yeah, I guess I never really thought of that.
And
Huh.
I flash my pointy teeth as well. I'm like,
You're good at making me feel both very great and very freaked out. And I think that I'm not sure how applicable it is in a lot of situations, but I do think it's very impressive.
it's actually very useful for lulling prey into a false sense of security.
Oh.
So it's a little disturbing that I'm very good at it.
And Samrin like smiles, like very excited to hear that before taking a second to realize like how often you've done it to him. And it's just like, oh. And takes his hand off of you.
So I'm going to throw a general disclaimer in here. It's thundering really bad here. If suddenly the stream goes dead,
That was real thunder.
Oh yeah, no, that's
That was-
oh
yeah.
no, that wasn't soundtrack. So if for some reason the stream goes dead, we'll be back as soon as we can. But if I lose power, yeah.
I thought you were hinting to us like a distant sound of thunder.
I think in that hour and a half,
Yep.
Barzul is getting more comfortable with flying.
Absolutely. So yeah, you do me. Let's just do flat out. Golly, what would this be? Well, you tell me. What are you trying to hone? What are you trying to hone as far as this? Like, what would be the applicable skill check? Is it a confidence check that you're feeling more confident with it? Is it that you're trying to get better maneuvering, so it'd be dexterity checking? Is it just general, how do these damn things work? I'll even let you throw you an insight of trying to sort of figure out your own new body.
Yeah, I think he's used to being dexterous before,
Okay.
and is trying to like figure out how to maneuver quickly. If things, basically, as he's thinking, like if things go poorly.
Yep. Okay, so let's start off and let's do an acrobatics check.
Oh, killer.
Do you use your tail, Barzul, when you fly?
I mean, I probably should. However, probably 15 minutes in, you just watch Barzul, because I rolled a 2 and that's a 1, just crash, like I'm crashing into something.
Yeah, you're sort of trying to hover above the tower and just come crashing down. So now do me a insight check.
I am rethinking my dibs on the gargoyle.
It's pretty ugly.
That's a 9.
On a 9,
So not my good skills.
yeah, no, you're angry, you're used to your smaller dwarven body, your very sneaky, stealthy dwarven body, so do me another acrobatics check.
Hey, we went up in the world. It's 10.
A 10. Okay, no, this is good. You get up in the air, you start to maneuver, and between the 9 on the insight and you're doing this, and there's a point at which you recognize, it sort of comes together in your mind. You need to stop thinking like your old body. I want you to do me an athletics check as you're going to try to muscle your way.
15.
On a 15, you tell me how that connection is made of, stop trying to fly like a rogue, start trying to fly like a gargoyle.
Yeah, I think after sort of, the initial ones, he's thinking about like being tight and like close, and I think as he sort of starts to like get comfortable with it, he is thinking about flying like a dragon, like big wings out, like just forceful, like not sort of deft maneuvering. He like if he's gonna like hit something, he just thinks like I'll just go through it.
Yeah. And I think you're probably taken back to a time very early in the war, and I'm almost positive Thargrim would have been involved in this, of the slaying of the last dragon in the war.
Wow, to lay that one on me.
Yeah. I mean, with his reputation and everything else,
yeah,
there's no way I don't think he wouldn't have been there, and probably instrumental in actually taking down this elder dragon that was the last of the dragons being used in this war 250 years ago when they killed this dragon.
And I think he remembers that scene of sort of ballista bolts, like looped with chains and nets, sort of pulling this thing down. And as the beast would sort of like thrash and push, splintering the sort of the chains, and sort of probably, I imagine they're sort of near a keep or something. It just crashes through and doesn't even sort of notice the tower it has sort of destroyed. And then that moment, like, it's just Barzul sort of like almost like cannonballing out of the sky.
Yeah.
Like, and probably landing with like as the wings.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, you probably hear down all the way down, sort of on the stronghold below that you first came in on, sort of that land, and then the launch back up into the air. And you just see this, 16-foot wingspan gargoyle just come roaring up the side to finally sort of come to a landing as you all sort of see your handiwork. But there is a landing, so give me a dexterity saving throw.
I have advantage on these.
Yeah.
That is a natural 20.
Nice. And you hero land it right there.
Oh wait, sorry. Like this.
Exactly like that. Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
I decided Jad has a disturbing habit of anytime he admires something for whatever reason, he licks his lips, which is very disturbing because he has an extra long tongue and his pointy teeth, right? So he's like approving, oh, good landing. He like licks his lips in this like disturbing way.
Okay. So let's get this show on the road. How do you all want to do this?
Trepidatiously.
I feel like Barzul has a little bit of extra confidence right now.
Yep.
And will look at the four of them and basically recognize that probably the best thing is for Elspeth and Rakeesh to be on the glider, and then Tamrind and Jad to be with me.
And if you point that out, Jad grins mischievously.
And I think Barzul will sort of take a rope, sort of loop it and tie it, and toss the other end to Rakeesh, and just growl, attach it, make sure it comes off easy though.
Oh, that was your first time flying? Just now? And he's slowly tying the rope around his waist.
Second, the last time we crashed into a wall.
Actually, it was much better.
Yes.
Third, I guess, if you also
Third.
count.
Yeah, the first time.
Well, good. You're getting the hang of it. I feel very ties the knot, but then loosens it a little bit. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about this decision. Yes.
Are you tying it to yourself or are you tying it to the glider?
I think that he ties it to the glider, but like, it's a 50-foot rope.
Oh, yeah.
He's gonna probably tie enough knots that we can also tie to it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You
Me-
can sort of make yourself harnesses for you
Yeah.
and Elspeth to sort of.
yeah,
so,
exactly.
So you're not just holding on; that you're actually
Right, yeah.
like
Like
a
if the
hang
glider breaks, maybe
Yeah.
he can still carry us.
I mean,
somehow.
rope harnesses are a thing that it's a good
Yeah.
skill to know.
The other thing I was thinking is that if you needed to, you could detach the rope. Like I think
Like
I
a
have-
slip knot so that it's just a quick release.
right.
That's
so
right,
basically,
yeah.
if you need to let go from me, you can release the glider. That's what I was talking about, like
Yep.
being able to
Mhm.
release it easily.
Yeah,
You
totally.
should tie yourselves into the glider, obviously, and maybe there's some other situation we do for
Yeah.
a fallback. But
I mean, yeah, y'all have got plenty of rope. You've actually got, I mean, you've got the sheets. You could almost make little hang glider type harness type, ideas for y'all to sort of lay in. Again, and I think that's part of the repair process that y'all would have done that. You know how these work, and they sort of usually do have some sort of almost hammock-like idea that that people would sort of lay in, especially for longer trips, so they're not just sort of truly hanging off of it.
Do the elves use these as well, or is this like a human invention?
This is more a human invention. Elves usually use beasts, flying beasts to carry them. They are much more along the lines of using summoned creatures and things like that when they need to fly.
I mean, part of
How's-
Rakesh is probably excited then because he's fought people who have used these against him, but he's
Wow.
never actually flown himself. So this is his first time flying. So like he's nervous, but he's also like anybody watching could see like as he's tying the knot, like he's pretty pumped about this.
Okay.
How's Elspeth feeling? Like, can we see how she's feeling about this?
Elspeth has this strange, calm demeanor at the moment. Almost like there's like this intense focus. And like there's something going on in the back of her mind that maybe there's something else. But has been sort of like keeping a respectable distance from Marzul during the whole of this, repairing the glider, and has looks like she's formulating a plan during the descent.
Okay. So, speaking of plan, what is the plan? Are you all planning on heading west to sort of cut 4 or 5 days off? Are you going to try to climb high enough to get so you've only got 1 day left of travel? What sort of are you going to go south and just get past the ambush points to then walk your way up? So it's really just a glide down and no actual having to climb in elevation.
I mean, we can try and get up as high as we can and then cut as much time off as possible.
Okay.
I have.
So the idea is to go as high as you can until something stops you from going higher, and then navigate from there. So anywhere between west and northwest is sort of the goal. But okay.
Oh, were we aware of ambush points further north up the road as well?
Nope. Again, because they were basically serviced from this tower. So most
Okay.
everything was only a day or 2 days away from the tower for ambushes. Where you're going to be, if you're going to the west, that's more like 4 or 5 days away. They have some visual on that, but again, it's literally where you're headed. You can sort of look up to the west. It's probably about 300 feet. Above. You wouldn't even know that there was a road up there if it weren't for the fact that you've got the map that shows you that, oh yeah, just right up there.
It's like a switchback.
Yeah,
sort of
that's what this
situation.
whole thing is, a big giant
Yeah.
sort of dog leg that y'all are dealing with. So yeah, it's one of the, without the map you wouldn't have realized that that you kind of had this shortcut where you could cut off, like I said, close to 5 days, maybe more.
Also, one tactical note is that I can communicate telepathically with y'all, right? I can message. So if we're on 2 flight route, I can like relay messages, not just a pretty face. So,
Gotcha.
well, I am a
And
very pretty face.
range on that?
That's a good point. It's not like my class feature guidance, which is extra large. Message range is 120. Not bad.
120, not bad. Okay. So, any last... We've got Barzul in the center. I'd say probably Elspeth and Rakeesh over towards the edge, getting harnessed in to sort of drop off the side. And
Jad's gonna help Rakeesh, actually. He's feeling, after last night, he's feeling a lot of like camaraderie to Rakeesh. So he's actually gonna help Rakeesh like strap in, and if Elspeth's there, he's not gonna be like, no, I'm not helping you. So he'll help her as well.
Okay.
Tamrin's going to approach Barzul. Again, the height difference pretty obvious. He's going to look up. He's going to look directly straight up. And
I think
with
at this point, Barzul, whenever he sees Tamrin approaching, just like
like crouch over.
yeah,
Like
crouches.
down on
And
one
is still like
Oh,
twice Tamrin's height.
So he'll approach, and with like nothing but pure like confidence and conviction, like on his face and in his eyes, he's like just going to very excitedly like state, "You've got this. I know you do."
Aww.
And then for a second, you'll see a little bit of hesitation, and he kind of like looks away before like returning your gaze, and then not being confident about this next step is just gonna like kind of put his hands up like a toddler needs to be picked up because he's just really not sure what he's supposed to do here.
I think Tamrin is going to sit like shoulder side.
Yeah, between the wings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because is small enough that
Oh, yeah.
probably will not get in the way.
Oh,
whereas
yeah,
Jad
dude.
will need to be carried.
He's-
Oh, you're gonna oh, I love
Yes. We'll turn to Rakeesh and say, "We'll pull us as high as we can go, and then and sort of point towards the northwest. That is where I think we should be going. If anything goes wrong, save yourselves."
Nods his head and flashes you a kind of not fangy but tusky smile, because he's got tusks, and so he flashes you a tusky smile and he says, "Do not worry, this is nothing. We will be all right, us here, and you will be all right too. And Tamrin, hold on tight. I told you we were going to make it to the beacon, and we are soon to make it to the beacon."
He kind of beams at Rakeesh.
Rakeesh, tell me something one time, maybe before you separated the last time. What did Dalvin say or do that hinted that perhaps he had other feelings for you before you guys like separated? Like the last thing he said or did or something?
Yeah, so one of the things that they did frequently together is teach and like actually like almost like classes, right? Like teach the students that were young, like the children refugees. They oversaw the children a lot. And because so many of the children were coming from homes where like they escaped from war, sometimes they had one parent or two parents, like they'd gone through a lot. It was a hard job for them as acolytes. And there was one time in particular that Rakeesh, who is usually pretty bright-spirited, just was shattered after one of the lessons. And Dalvin found him trying to leave the conclave. He was packed up, he was ready to go, he couldn't do it anymore. And Dalvin talked him into staying. And there was a moment there, in their hut. It's like that thing where they were like maybe 6 to 8 inches apart, and a long silence, and nothing happened, but Rakeesh stayed. And they both could feel that there was something unspoken there.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say, like, reflexively, without trying, Jad like assumes the same like distance and position of that last time, like, and this isn't Jad super conscious of what he's doing, and he like, I'm guessing like they looked at each other so I'm gonna say Jad looks at you, and he has the same body as Dalvin, even though he's paler and pointier, and like gives you the exact same look of like reassurance that you remember from that time.
That deja vu for Rakeesh, he falls into the same look again, and there's a few seconds of silence, but I don't think he stays silent as long as they did in the past. He sort of says, breaking out of it, because he has conflicting feelings about Dalvin after what he learned the last night. He says, just not looking away from you entirely, but like it's the difference between your eyes to like your nose or your lips, right, or your shoulder. And he says, I do not know if or when you might remember everything that was lost, but I have been thinking, Dalvin, and it does not matter to me. I want you to choose the person you want to be. And if I can help you, I will. Thank you for, he continues to finish tying himself up, being there for me when I needed you.
And this actually makes Jad feel like really good, but he's like really embarrassed by this. So he leans over to you, and for an instant you're like, wait, is this dude gonna like kiss me or something? But he like turns his head in the last minute, and then guidances, like blood breathes into your ear again because you're about to jump on this like glider thing. And I'm like, you'll need it. I have a muscular stone man carrying me. You just have bed sheets.
And it cleans out his ear just a little bit. He does reflexively every time you blood breathe. And he says, thank you. I appreciate it. I promise you, we will be all right.
And the moment passes, and then Jad turns and loudly says, okay, handsome, pick me up.
Barzul, who has never been called handsome, who has never been called handsome, almost instinctively looks behind him.
See Tamron on your shoulders, just giving you a thumbs up.
Sort of like, sort of strides over and just like scoops the Jad up and just like growls like, hang on.
And I'm like, oh, I'll hang on to you any day, Barzul. And I'm very good at gripping walls and things, right? So
I would say, since Barzul is actually stone, your wall walking does work.
Yes! I can wall walk on Barzul!
I just imagine like Barzul standing and like Jad is like this way out.
Okay, we're gonna step away from that so I don't have to throw like a yellow card on that, because yeah.
Sorry, that looked way worse than I thought it was. Sorry.
But yes, so yeah, I actually thought about this over the week. I absolutely believe that you're wall climbing, because especially since you haven't you got advanced wall climbing now or whatever it is that you just got. Yeah. So with that, you all get ready to launch. I need Barzul to make me an athletics check, and I need Rakeesh to make me a dexterity saving throw.
And Rakeesh gets a D4.
Yeah, I think Barzul is going to start this by like looking at Rakeesh and like giving a nod. And I think the intent is that both of them run sort of like in a staggered fashion to the edge. So there's not a lot of slack
no, absolutely.
in the line. And then like all fours, or actually you can't be on all fours, but like running sort of like linebacker style.
Yeah.
And then wings out. Here we go. Whew, okay, I'll take that. Athletics, you said, right?
Yep, athletics.
Okay, mathing. Oh, I have a +6 to this now. My other roll was higher earlier. I forgot it went up. A 24.
Ooh.
24, nice.
I rolled an 18.
So Rakeesh, dexterity with a 25, plus a 3 with a 28. You all sort of step off over the edge, and with this huge flap of wings, the line goes taut. The war glider gets pulled up, and it's almost like a surge. You all kind of felt that you were gonna drop some. It is almost like a taking off in a jet plane as the two of you start to climb up into the air. Steep angle. In fact, you're with the 25, and how strong of a Barzul is carrying this along. You kind of look instinctively to the wings of this glider, making sure that it's going to hold together with all this. I mean, there is a huge sort of dizzying feel, which I need Rakeesh, Tamron, Elspeth, and Jad. Please all make me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh God.
As your first time flying.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I rolled a nat 1.
Okay.
Oh, no.
So there is sort of this exhilaration and almost this confidence that comes from just how kind of almost surprised at how well this takeoff went. Tamron, it's your first time in the air. You're used to being really low to the ground. You also still have a lot of your fear you have overcome, but this is. Tell us how Tamron's doing.
Oh, Tamron.
Yeah, let's see here. I'm trying to think of how to do this, and I think I've got there. Barzul, I think you feel this tightness like around your neck. You're made of stone. It's not choking you or anything, I don't believe, but you just feel like Tamron clutching on tightly that the entire time you're up there. And if at any point, it's probably pretty obvious to Rakeesh and Elspeth, if at any point, Barzul, you turn and look, I think you can see that Tamron has actually, before the flight took off, had kind of like scrunched his sleeves up, or his arms into his sleeves, and tied them together in a knot around your neck. And currently his tiny body is just like limp and flailing in the wind as he's just like passed out from fear.
You're actually unconscious?
Just at least frozen and just like complete fear and just like.
Yeah, it's kind of like those videos you watch of kids who go tubing behind like a ski boat for the first time. It's just bloop, 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 bloop. Yeah, it's that. I mean, he's tied on, so he's not falling off or anything. But
Ooh, can I help? I want to ease Tamron's suffering. I have lots of illusion spells. Do I see your hand, Tamron, clutching around Barzul's neck?
You see his sleeves tied together around his neck. His hands are like inside the sleeves.
Oh, so
he's just kind of finagled it in a way.
I send you a message. I'm like, Tamron, are you okay?
You tell me, Jay. Here is he coming back anytime soon?
Oh
or
yeah,
is
he can come back. I mean, in fact, that might even kind of what shocks you out. There's also speaking of fear, there's also you just had this kind of encounter with Jad, and the idea of, wait, is this now he's
talking in my mind.
Yeah, it was. Well, also the last time I spoke with him, he was talking about how it makes you easy prey, and I need to not be asleep.
His eyes jolt open, and he immediately
the message voice is my like cold, high, that voice is not my regular voice. So.
Oh, great!
But it's asking
awesome.
you, are you okay? In this like creepy way.
His eyes bolt open, and his arms are tied together around his neck. But you can see him like trying to look down in his own neck, which is near impossible. But it's the thing that does bring him back to consciousness as he looks to you like eyes wide, then realizes what's happening again, and it's just like. Right. And he doesn't finish that sentence. He just kind of stares directly into Jad's eyes Because it's at least they're piercing, they're terrifying, but they're at least distracting him from the reality of the situation.
Okay.
Jay, on my travels, did I meet any other gnomes like Tamron?
Nope.
Okay.
No, for all Tamron knows, he was the only one in the world until you saw the drawing of Subject 14.
Okay, so I'm gonna say that in one of the villages I stayed at, there was this like elderly grandma who would sing lullabies to her like tiny grandchildren. And one night, and I was like hungry and wanted to feed, I like passed by their house and then heard her sing, and that's what kind of took me out of the feeding frenzy so I could get away from them, right?
Okay.
Jad suddenly Jad's a performer, right? Jad starts singing that song, and then what he does is, you don't see this part, but you can't see his hands. He like slices his palm open, and he's using silent image as the blood. Remember, all my illusions are blood based, as we saw with the map, right? The blood like streams out and kind of becomes the subject of the song, because it's a medieval song. It has like a storyline sort of thing. So you see the swirling red images like float in front of you as I'm trying to sing this song, try and calm you down. I mean, you can probably smell it as blood, but I'm trying to remember that song. I'm trying to like calm you down with that.
Okay. So you guys sort of arc around, steering, like sort of, it's kind of one of these sort of spiral things, like, you see, birds of prey, any soaring bird sort of does a circle around a thermal to get higher, but this is being powered by Barzul, with both of you being above a 20 and so far above. We'll say that you make sort of these first two laps pretty easily. This all but gets you even with sort of the direct, like, westerly path if you were wanting to go that way. But currently, you've not bumped into any issues. So I ask y'all, do you want to continue to climb or to I see all y'all nodding your heads. Okay, so Barzul.
Carl.
I think Barzul is invigorated.
Oh yeah. So I need you to go ahead and do me the athletics. Rakeesh, I need you to do me the dexterity saving throw. Actually, in this case, I'm going to say either it's this point's a check. The saving throw was because of the yank off the tower. So I think now we're going with you can either use an acrobatics or a dexterity check.
Cool. I'll do acrobatics.
Okay.
I think in Barzul's excitement, he is going to rage. And he does so almost in joy. Just like as he's flying, he is going to bellow out, "I am alive!" And just, like he hasn't felt this kind of thrill in centuries.
Wow. This is very exciting for Sean. How's Elspeth looking?
We're going to check in with Elspeth here in a second. After this
Depending on these rolls, we'll find out.
Yeah.
That was a 6 and a 19, so a 25 again. 25 on my side. It was worth the rage.
And Rakeesh does check in with Elspeth once, like when Barzul calls out, "I'm alive," and like takes off even harder. He does like call over his shoulder, "Are you doing okay?"
Yeah, this is really high up. And Elspeth is going to hold the pendant really tight, tap Rakeesh, and Rakeesh feels suddenly very lighter as Elspeth casts Fly accidentally on him.
Whoa!
Yes.
Nice.
Whoa!
Okay. He Top Guns it immediately without even knowing.
Mean?
Yeah.
So he starts barrel rolling like he's never flown before. Now he has the fly spell cast on him.
Yeah.
All he knows is his will, and his will is to
Okay, so go ahead and roll me that acrobatics check with advantage.
Good. Okay.
Nice.
A 16.
On a 16, yeah, I mean this is pretty amazing. You are flying in one of these war gliders that you've really only seen before. You might have captured one before, but certainly you never got a chance to use one. And then this sort of, at first you think is lightness of heart, then you realize it's lightness of body. As you are actually flying. In fact, you feel yourself even like almost coming out of the hammock a little bit and having to grab on tighter so that you don't all but fly right out of the glider, leaving Elspeth by yourself, sort of in your own excitement, your own mental will. I will say with the 16, as you sort of start to fly forward and the forces sort of redistribute, you do see one of the struts up there on top of the up on the glider is starting to shake a little. One of the ones that you had lashed back together, you could sort of start to see that little piece of rope and twine beginning to sort of unravel up to your right.
Okay. Like as he's there gripping onto the glider, not really the same way anymore. He's like actually trying to slow himself down.
Yeah.
So he is just go off in a direction. Air rushing back through his hair. He calls back to Elspeth over his shoulder. Did you do that? Did you do that to me?
Sorry, I don't quite know how any of this works.
Hold on tight. I'm going to try something. And he tries to let go and then fly up to the broken strut and hold on to it with his hands.
I need Elspeth to make me a dexterity saving throw, as suddenly she is flying this where she wasn't before.
Dex saving throw?
Yep.
Okay, for sure. This is going to be great.
No.
Okay. So, as Rakeesh, you sort of let go, things were going so well. So this is, the war glider practically flies itself. You let go and sort of out of your harness, fly over to the side out by the wing. And as you do with a 2, as you get there to start to reach up on it, it tips away from you, up and over. And you see the entire glider starting to sort of flip over and start to head towards the ground. Barzul, up ahead, I need you to make a strength saving throw as suddenly the glider is now pulling on you like a parachute.
All right.
Oh
Yay for raging.
no! Yeah.
Good choice. 19.
On a 19, I mean, you're slowed down, but also you're able to sort of pull, you're not making any more elevation as you're sort of now just trying to keep you from losing any elevation. Rakeesh, what are you up to? Go ahead, Barzul.
Yeah, I was going to say, as it also probably feels different because all of a sudden it is
totally
lighter.
different.
So it probably pulls for a second, and I sort of turn, and I just watch the glider going this way, and I see Rakeesh Supermaning through the air. And sort of panicked myself.
Yep. Yeah. Suddenly it was going so well. Rakeesh.
Rakeesh gives, as he's flying through the air, gives Barzul, his face is not good at lying right now, but his hands are giving you 2 thumbs up as his face is in panic. And then he's going to try to fly back and make sure he can catch Elspeth, maybe carry Elspeth with him as he flies. Since they're tied together, I feel like, it might be awkward getting to her, but once he does, he can kind of ensure that she's not going to fall.
Yeah, I was envisioning each of y'all were tied to the glider, not necessarily tied to each other.
Oh, okay.
Sort of again, like a hang gliding harness. So
then he will fly, then he'll turn, and he's never flown before either. He's always wanted to, but he never has. But he's going to do his best to make sure that he catches Elspeth before she hits the ground.
Well, again, I mean, y'all are, even where you are, you're 300 or 400 feet up because off the top of the tower. So It's just that you started to go that way. So are you going to try to right the glider, or at this point, are you just going to try to grab Elspeth?
If I can get Elspeth, we're both tied to the glider. The glider can fly behind us for a while. He doesn't know how long the spell ends, so I think he just wants to make sure Elspeth.
I think it's an hour, right?
Yeah, it's an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Above the table.
So you go back there and do me a. Let you do another dexterity saving throw to try to catch her, sort of try to catch the glider and her, and again with these ropes that are sort of giving you a little bit of basically get you out of the tailspin you're in right now.
Okay. I'm going to, well, I don't know. Does a 15 succeed? I have a thing I can do.
Tell me what you're wanting to do.
So I have fortune from the many. If I miss, if I fail a saving throw, I can draw on my bonds to give myself a bonus. Yeah.
So I didn't know if it was one of those that you had to do it before you knew whether it passed or failed.
No,
if it fails, you can use it.
If it fails, I can use it. So it gives me a +4. I don't know if that's good enough or not.
A 19 will do it. So yeah, you're able to write it. However, the glider has definitely taken some good thing. Basically, what's happening is that 19 sort of durability it has been dropping over the course of failed things. So still pretty stable. I was not expecting you all to get as high as you did with the 19, but I mean you've definitely it's gotten some bumps and wear along this sort of rocky second flight path. You all are still pretty much level, but certainly with the fly spell, you all can, for now you've reoriented yourself, attempt to climb some more. Barzul, give me a perception check.
And while he's doing that, since I saw Rakeesh fly, I'm like, Rakeesh, you are a man of many talents. I would have mounted you if you wanted. I telepathically message this to him so he actually can hear it in the wind.
I am very mysterious.
And you can hear my next message is just ha 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 ha.
It's a 22.
Oh, lowercase haha with no punctuation. Okay, play it coy, I guess.
On a 22, as you sort of look back and look behind you, you see back over to the east, sort of where the refugee sort of pit stop was, where the attack was. Way off in the distance on a 22, you can see 3 figures hovering in the sky and start making their way towards you.
I will sort of shout to I'll probably just shout straight at Jod, which is like probably like right in Jod's face.
And I have very good hearing, right?
Yes. I'll just we're being followed.
And I look and in the direction you point, and I send a message to Elspeth and Rakeesh. Like, I was just joking with Rakeesh, but suddenly with Barzul being serious, I'm like, wait, what? And I like tell them Barzul says we're being followed, because I can't see them. But
well, I mean, as you start to point them out, and they are coming at you at a rapid pace. 2 humanoid figures and one sort of smaller figure with flapping wings.
With that 22, do I also get a sort of lay of the land of like where we are at the moment?
Yep. Where you are at the moment, you are, sort of up above the tower. You've sort of been circling around. You're about 350 feet above the tower, which puts you a good 500 feet above the ground. To the west, you can see the road where you could go and sort of make an emergency landing. You can also see, if you wanted to continue to climb higher, you could basically just make a bolt for it, trying to gain altitude to get even further up to the north, further up the path. These people behind you, again, they are just dots on the horizon, but they are obviously moving towards you. You all are making a pretty good clip, so you're at your speed, but just because of the circling in this last check, in the course of sort of all of that unfolding, you realize what you might have first thought was just sort of like birds or something are definitely people coming your way.
I turn to Barzul and I'm like, Barzul, are these a threat? Because he's a war leader, right? I'm like, Barzul, are these a threat?
I think Barzul We'll just say, we have to know. We have to assume.
I am. Yeah.
Can Rakish carry Elspeth without the glider?
I ask Rakish.
I think am I carrying Elspeth without the glider now?
There's a little bit of assistance there. I believe with the fly spell, you are able to carry one, but you would be at half speed. Elspeth, do me a just sort of a history check or an intelligence check, whichever is better.
Okay. They're both the same. I've got a plus to nature, but don't have that much for history.
Yeah, no, this is
let's
more
try
to remembering things.
That's an 18.
Ooh.
It is with that flash of sort of insight. You remember Millie talking about the lieutenant and how he would probably fly you directly to Falcon Spire. It is about 10:30 in the morning. You knew he was going to be arriving.
That would be probably the lieutenant that was going to try and come pick me up and take me to. And if they're coming our way, oh God, we need to hurry. We need to get as far away from here as possible.
So I'm going to try something. Jay, would Jad know or have seen or have heard of any like dangerous flying swarm of birds or insects or anything?
Not in your current with your current state of memory, no.
Yeah, so Jad, who is a storyteller, is going to make up vicious looking swarm of birds with like, he's kind of like mashing together the like flying undead spritey things we fought and like Barzul's wings and claws, and just making up, and he's gonna cast Silent Image right behind us, as though emerging from below the trees is the swarm of monstrous birds like in between us and them, as though it's like as though if they continue forward they will enter the swarm of scary birds.
Okay.
Yep, cast a spell, and I think if they're making a saving throw, the spell save is 15.
Okay, yep, they need to. I just want to. I'm afraid it's going to say what they are, so I'm going to whisper this roll.
Intelligent, it's an intelligence.
Yep, intelligence saving throw. Yep.
Yes.
And they have advantage on these. Okay. What was the DC?
15.
You see your swarm of birds emerging, and so this is all happening. I need Barzul. If you're going to if you want to make a bolt for it to the northwest, I need you to do me an athletics check for me, please. Rakish, at this point, since you're flying and not steering, I guess the biggest thing is if no one's steering the glider, it is going to be a hindrance to Barzul flying at full speed. So I think, I'm just mechanically above the table. You either need to decide to be on it and steering it, or you need to get rid of it because it's going to slow you down.
Rakish pulls out the jeweled dagger that he took and says to Elspeth, "Hold on tight. I'm going to see if maybe I can't go faster than Barzul." And then he cuts the rope. He cuts the rope beneath where the glider is, so the glider flies off.
Glider flutters back behind you. Barzul, I need you to go ahead and make me that athletics check.
It was a 19.
19. Wings pumping. What is your fly speed? I believe is your walking speed, correct?
Yes.
Which is 40.
Which is 40 now.
So with dash would be 80. So you feel a surge. Tamron on the back.
God damn.
Yeah. Woo! Yeah.
Actually, can I ask a question? So how close did these folks get to us?
They're about 350 feet away.
Okay.
They're a good ways away. But like I said, they are definitely pursuing you.
Okay.
Hopefully they'll believe the birds.
Yeah. Tamron is definitely overwhelmed seeing a flying Rakish and everything happening here. But nothing is kicking in quite yet. If they get a little bit closer to us, just let me know how close they get, if that's okay.
Okay, no
Are you going to
worries.
transform on Barzul's back?
I don't want to, but that thing inside might.
Yep. No. So as you guys keep going, you see with them moving towards you as Rakeesh, as you pull out the dagger and slash this, you hear a voice in your mind. Elspeth is going to hear it too because she's got the twin. You killed my brother. You will die for that.
Rakeesh probably says out loud, not in his mind, because he's not super used to communicating telepathically. And I think he has too much adrenaline right now. Like he's capable of getting very scared when he doesn't understand things, but he's not scared right now. He's pumped up. He says, "Your brother should not have jumped me in this room and knocked me through a floor. That was not very smart. He is a mage. He could have used magic. I am so sorry for your loss." He focuses.
Awesome. So as you don't hear anything back, but you do look behind you. On a 17 on their saving throw, you see them fly, charging right through. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and get us into initiative order.
Flying combat.
And we are for some flying combat. We're going to see how this goes, folks. And we're going to go ahead and get those initiatives started. You should be seeing yourselves on there. And as these three figures start coming at you, as we are going to go on a quick break and then be back for our combat round. Dude, I found a GIF.
That's
I was
nuts.
so excited that that
Yeah.
was me, and then
That's
I realized
nuts.
it wasn't.
Nope, it's not you.
It's very cool, though. It's
So
very
be sure to
cool.
click-
You're handsomer than that, Barzul.
Be sure to click on your tokens. They should all be there down at the bottom of the screen as we get some initiative order going.
Oh, I have to roll first, right?
Yep, click on it and then hit your roll.
Did I appear?
Yeah, Ambertan, Barzul. I did not.
Nope. I'll roll again. I'll just roll and take whichever.
Yeah,
you
be sure
choose.
to just click on your. There we go, Jad. And I believe your first roll was.
Oh, there we
4.
go.
Yeah. So I'll just swap that out.
Sure.
Cool. And with that, we're going to take a quick break. We will be right back with my first foray into aerial combat, and we will see how this goes. Have a great one, everyone. We will be back in less than 5. And we are back with our combat beginning. We are in an aerial dogfight, so to speak, a gargoyle fight a little bit, as we head into this combat with our apparently at least one relation of the Sam Barthanes, who the party killed a couple episodes ago. So as we get started, let's get going with looks like our good friend, the lieutenant, who is well back, about 300 yards away, is just going to take the dash action, trying to get closer to all of you. And with that is going to, you do see he has got a very fast flying speed, probably equivalent to almost double that of Barzul's, as though he is being somewhat lofted a little bit more quickly than one might have expected. Keeping pace with him is his gargoyle guard, as it comes flying up as well. Lagging behind, however, is this other figure, sort of in noble robes, definitely mage-like robes. Actually, I should describe them for our folks who aren't necessarily looking at the screen. We have the three figures. One is a gargoyle, smaller of build than Barzul, seems to be a little bit more lithe, a little bit faster. More of a less of a brute that Barzul is, and more of a finesse warrior. Along with them is a mage in robes, definitely noble cut of robes. The party, even as they start to close in on you a little bit, would see some of the similarities with the person that they encountered and killed before, in both robes, maybe not necessarily in facial features yet. The other one in a soldier's outfit, dark skin with braids in the very tight, noble military style across their head, with a axe that has lightning sort of arcing off of it and around their body. Most likely the lieutenant who the party had heard about, who they knew would be reporting in the next morning, and probably has been briefed on all of the activities of the day before. It is the lieutenant who approaches very quickly to the party. Not quite in range yet, but does seem to have gained about 20 feet on the party at this point. Next up is going to be Tamarind.
Tamarind, seeing what's happening here, goes to, in his mind, thinking he wants to channel that magic that he's used in the past. The one he at least still has control of himself over when he uses it, the Eldritch Blast that he's fired off before. And he goes to start untangling the knots he's tied his sleeves into for security. And as he goes to do that, he feels his arms lock into place. And he looks almost puzzled at what's happening, unsure of why he can't act in the way he wants to. But something is keeping him from doing it, and he's actually going to hold his action.
Okay.
And he's going to wait until he's going to wait until he thinks enough of them are within about 120, 110, 100 feet.
Okay. Very good. Next up, Rakeesh. At this point, as this is all sort of unfolding at the same time, there's still about, we'll say there's about 200 feet between you and this chasing group. And you are carrying Elspeth. With you carrying her, it does slow you down a little bit. You're not at full speed. You are probably at this point keeping pace with Barzul instead of necessarily being faster than Barzul. So about 40 feet 40 feet of movement while you carry Elspeth. She's a smaller, slight framed person, so it's not slowing you to half speed. But just to keep things easier, we're going to have it be that Barzul and you are flying at the same 40 foot speed. So about 200 feet between you and them behind them. You all are heading to the northwest, climbing in elevation. And what would you like to do?
All right, so Rakesh, attached to Elspeth, says, "We can slow them down and then get away. You and me together. Together." And he reaches into his pouch and pulls out a handful of sand and he tosses into the air. And as he does, he imagines and remembers a mythological tale of the fire serpent that lives beneath his island and devours cowards. And as he imagines the story, the sand turns into a fiery image like a serpent. And I'm going to say this is my help action as my bonus action.
Okay.
It wraps around Elspeth and I, and
Okay.
it also begins flowing back towards this group that's pursuing us. So it's flowing through the air as we're flying forward, and he turns and barrel rolls and draws his bow, and he'll take a long distance shot. I think he has disadvantage on this, but
Okay.
he'll take a shot.
Okay, go for it.
Who's the closest one?
At this point, it is going to be the lieutenant. Lieutenant or the gargoyle are about the same. They're sort of obviously working in tandem, coming towards you.
They close enough that I can see what kind of armor this lieutenant has.
You can see his breastplate shining fairly, in the sunlight. But the gargoyle is stone, so
Okay, it's a toss-up.
I mean, you haven't necessarily attacked Barzul, so you don't necessarily know how tough the stone is, but...
Okay, so I use my spite gift, and until the start of my next turn, the first time Elspeth or I hit a creature with an attack roll, that creature has disadvantage on their next attack roll.
Perfect.
A 15?
Ooh. Because you have disadvantage yet, because it is out of range.
It's-
Boy, I thought it was a
it's
natural
super-
20 at first.
I only have a range of 80 feet.
Which
with
one are
my
you aiming
short
at?
range. I'm aiming at the lieutenant.
At the lieutenant, you see the bolt go out of your, the arrow go out of your short bow and sort of hit almost square in the breastplate, tink, and it just falls away.
Can I use Fortune of the Many? No. Yes. Can I use Fortune of the Many to give it a +4?
Does it have a range on it?
No. It just gives me, after I fail a roll, I can use Fortune of the Many to increase it by all of my allies nearby.
Okay.
+1 for each ally.
Nice. So, what was the original roll? A 15,
15.
+4. As you see, you at first think that it has bounced off of the breastplate, but it's actually skittered across and lodges into his shoulder.
And he just like spins around and pushes forward and
Go ahead and
tries to
roll me
follow
that
Barzul.
damage.
Oh yeah, hey.
Yeah, you get damage on that.
It's only going to be 4 piercing damage.
Got it. You sort of, like I said, you see it hit in, but it does not. But it doesn't slow him down in any way. He's still pretty much on a head-on charge. Next up, Elspeth, you sort of see this fiery serpent wrap itself around you as you sort of go barrel rolling forward. I very much am seeing the what's the ultimate in Overwatch with this big serpent.
Oh, right, Hanzo.
Hanzo's ultimate is happening, sort of flowing off you in this sort of burning, trailing sand as you all are moving forward. This fiery serpent surrounding you. Elspeth, you are up.
And seeing that, Elspeth will grab a little bit of the fire from the serpent and whip it towards the lieutenant,
Yep.
spending 1 sorcery point for distance spell to double the range from 120 to 240 feet.
What?
Nice. Oh yeah, meta magic.
Sorcerers! Nice.
And yeah, Elspeth is gonna roll for a firebolt.
Gotcha.
That's amazing. Does it change? Does the fire become like divine looking when you use a sorcery point?
Yeah, I think there's like a little bit of light that also gets captured with it and the fire almost turns blue, like
Yeah, it sort of becomes from that sort of red hot orange flame. It then turns into this sort of hot blue spike. And who are you aiming at?
I was aiming at the closer of the two, whoever was within the 240-foot range.
You have
The two,
advantage.
Oh, I have advantage?
Yep, both the gargoyle and the lieutenant are both about the same distance.
The 16's the higher of the two rolls.
Okay. And who were you aiming at?
So I would be aiming at the one that Rakesh aimed for initially as well.
Okay, so is that, I'm sorry, is it, do I have a save or is that the roll?
That's the roll. It's 16.
It's to hit. Unfortunately, you see it sort of splash against the breastplate.
Favored by the gods, I will roll 2d4 and add it
Nice.
to potentially change the outcome.
You guys, I love all these things.
That's an extra 2, so it's 18 total.
18 just hits.
Ah!
Roll me the damage.
And
So
Lucky
that's-
Dawn, what was your special effect if Elspeth hits?
They have disadvantage on their next attacks.
Yep.
Nice.
So 2d10, that's 14 points of damage.
Whoa!
That he felt. The arrow, not so much. But as this fire goes splashing across his front, you actually sort of see it catch on a little bit of the nobility pieces of his robe. You can see there's real armor under there, but he also sort of wearing some of the robes of his station, as he was not expecting necessarily to be on a combat mission. And you see some of his cloak and the fur around his collar sort of burn away and trail off behind him as this sort of white hot blue flame splashes into his across the front of his breastplate. Anything
Okay. That is my action. And I think that's all I can do for now.
Okay.
That was really epic vote, Anita.
Both of y'all. Yeah. Jad, you are sort of at the front end of this combat because you're in Barzul's arms. What would you like to do?
So how they're like 200 feet?
200 feet back. Yep.
Okay, pretty far, too far for most of my things. So instead, I'm gonna start clambering. I don't have to clamber. I'm very elegant. I'm gonna start crawling out from under Barzul.
Yep.
And I climb onto him.
Sort of using your spider climb. Yep. So sort
Yeah, I'm cool that way. And I see Elspeth, who tactically I know that if Elspeth gets hurt, she'll lose concentration and then Rakesh will fall, right? But in character, I'm always like, Elspeth is like the needs protection. She like heals people. So I'm going to target her. I drew number 6, the beggar. Which is Tale of the Traveler. So I see it because I asked Ghost. So I see a ghost of this beggar in a parabolic arc soaring through the air, and I hear him say, if you see a tree that moves has bright purple leaves, don't try and pluck its fruit. Because what happened to him was he was like walloped into the air, and that's how he died. And so the feeling of that story, I breathe out in a cloud of bloody mist towards Elspeth, who was no longer clean, sorry. Elspeth, maybe for an instant you see the strange ghost of an old man soar through the air, and you gain temporary hit points equal to a roll of a d8, which is my bardic die, plus 8.
Nice.
Plus my bard level, which is 5.
Nice. So 13.
So you get 13 hit points, and you get an armor class increase by 1. I know all of us have low armor. And the most useful part of the spell, you get a walking speed increase of 10 feet. Woo!
Speaking of armor class, quick question, Elspeth. Are you wearing the ring or is it just in your pocket?
I think for safekeeping, Elspeth might have put it on her finger just to make sure that it was okay.
Well,
I honestly didn't specify before, so
no,
we
but
can always say that it's just in my pocket.
I'm fine with that. And also because it makes better story, so we're going to go with it. And I like the idea. So, and especially you slept with it on, so you would have attuned. It is a ring of protection, which gives you another +1.
Nice.
But also, it's what let them scry on you to find out that you killed where you were.
So you have
So
magical armor?
There are trades off.
So you have magical ring armor and warning of a soaring old man armor.
There you go.
Sounds good. So now my armor class has gone up from 11 11 or 10 to 12.
Unkillable.
You're the one
Invincible.
Yeah.
You're the one
OP,
that's targeting.
so OP.
We found our tank. We found our
so
tank.
OP.
Also, we know you're the one they're chasing after, so it makes sense for me to bless you, right?
Yep.
Thank you. I appreciate
next up, Barzul. You've got a vampire. You've got a small. You got a small Tamara on your back. You've got a spider crawling Jad using you as a surfboard.
Yeah, I just imagine Jad surfing
I'm
on the
riding
back,
Barzul,
but
yes!
backwards, like looking back at like.
Yeah.
Backward riding Barzul.
So there's the landing off to the west of. So we've climbed a little bit since then, but
Yeah,
there's this
you are.
landing
So
off to the
it's
west.
probably about 50 or 60 feet below you to the west. To make it to the sort of the next ledge up is probably another 100 feet, probably 2 rounds to make it up to the next higher sort of landing point. Or if again, you can even do a sort of a vertical soar up the cliff face if you want to try to go higher. You still have a good 200 feet on them. I will say, because I was looking at my totals, with the amount of damage that the lieutenant took, you did see, especially with the fire and the splash of it, he did rear up a little bit. So I would say, probably you probably got a round of equal where you can keep the distance you have now if you keep sprinting.
Yeah, I think the idea Barzul is looking honestly to put Dad and Tamarind down, and but it's not looking to like go down. It's like it's gonna do one of those things where like you like hug the wall. Like,
yeah.
Also, in case anything goes bad, I can like
Yeah,
clamp
you can
onto
grab
it,
on.
like-
Okay,
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, no. So go ahead and do me that athletics check with advantage as you are zooming up the wall. It's right out of the Gargoyles cartoon, them up the side of a skyscraper.
19.
19, yeah. You keep going full speed. Jad, you have no problem as you switch sort of from horizontal to vertical because you can do that. Tamarind, we're basically sort of laying on your stomach to now truly hanging by one arm, if I remember correctly.
Oh no!
As he's climbing up there. Interestingly enough, because of sort of how Jad is, you almost
You can stand on Jad.
almost can stand on. We won't get into the weird contortions happening up on the gargoyle, but
No hand
I mean,
gestures.
Jad is
No
used
hand
to weird
gestures.
contortions with dudes.
yeah. So with that, next up is Elias Sambarthane, who is not pleased about seeing you all get away. He's
He's the one with the glowing hand, right?
He is the one with the glowing hand. Yes. Sort of filled with rage. Let me do some rage.
Not as much rage as Barzul.
Yep. True. What is... Okay. Yep. As my Warcaster, he is going to... War Mage. He's going to use his battle action to overchannel his fly spell. And you see him start surging forward. Click off one use of that. And you see him start to close the gap between you. That is his bonus action, his overchannel. And I don't think... What is the range on that? He's not quite in 120 feet. He's about 150 feet away. He is... I just used his bonus action. Okay. I'll stick with what I said. He'll dash on top of that. So he is closing
Like
in.
supersonics towards
Yeah,
us?
you basically
Like
see
overchannel?
him do the equivalent of a Naruto run up in the sky towards you, and you basically even surge in front of the lieutenant. As he gets closer, I would say certainly those of you with high passive perception and sort of seeing, you can start to see that resemblance and just eyes filled with hatred as he knows what you did and is coming to get you. We are back to the top of the round. That is Lieutenant Ephraim Greymont. He is going to continue forward. He's going to take the dash action, and he's going to continue to move ahead. Probably catches up about 150 feet. He's caught himself up, him and the gargoyle, because they need to get close. So all of them are about 150 feet away from you as we come to Tamron. You held an action. If you would like to do anything that works with 150 feet before your next turn comes, otherwise, that's okay.
I have nothing that's
Okay.
beyond. Yeah, so I have to wait till they get closer.
Cool. Anything you would like to do as you are holding on, etc., etc.?
Make tiny squeaking noises, mostly, I guess, out of confusion, not fear, but mostly anxiety. No, I don't. I'm not really built to be a great support. So
With the just letting you, I mean, with what you saw with Elias, is with just his movement, he will probably get within 120 feet of you next round.
and I'm just gonna hold.
Okay, so you are, I assume, holding an Eldritch or something.
Or something.
Elsewhere, or something. I'm fine with or something. So yeah, you're holding a spell. Let's save it for the drama. Next up, Rakeesh, 150 feet behind you. You are again sort of heading. You see Barzul sort of heading up this wall. You can keep going straight to get yourself to ground, or you can follow Rakeesh. You are Rakeesh. Follow Barzul sort of up the wall to the direction he's sort of heading, or you can sort of land where there is ground, basically already at the same vertical height as you, which is about 40 feet away.
How high up would I have to fly to get to, like, if I followed Barzul, how high would I have to fly to get to, like...
Same thing, 2 rounds. It would be 2 rounds of
Rounds.
dash to get you there.
Yeah, okay, so Rakeesh doesn't dash. Rakeesh doesn't dash. He does follow Barzul because he doesn't want to split the party here in this moment.
Yeah.
I think he understands, like, they're after Elspeth.
Yeah.
And so he follows up. I don't think he's moving because he's not dashing as fast as Barzul.
Yeah.
But he's flying straight up in the air and he's turning around as he's doing so. And he is going to hold his action to cast a spell when someone comes in range.
Okay. Next up, Elspeth. You are sort of there with Rakeesh, flying with him, sort of doing the Superman and Lois Lane thing, and this huge fiery serpent still sort of swirling around you after having damaged Ephraim, the lieutenant, before. What would you like to do?
I would like to do the same thing, grab onto that fire, but this time I'm going to throw it at the fellow behind them further back.
Well, at this point, they're all pretty much even because
They're all pretty much even?
The spellcaster, Sam Barthene, and them are sort of all 3 in a row.
All right. Well, I'd like to aim at Sam Barthene,
Okay.
if possible, please.
Cool.
So, is this still the advantage? Is it still active, or is it?
I use my bonus action to maintain it. So
To maintain it?
Fire serpent. So you still have the help action.
Nice.
Okay, sounds
Awesome.
good. So
Is
with
that a
advantage,
mastermind rogue thing?
Yeah.
a 17.
17.
Woohoo!
It hits. You see,
Okay.
describe this. Is it sort of the same idea, or is there anything special twist you put on it because this is Sam Barthene?
I think at that point, maybe recognizing the person that she's aiming at, the ring almost glows with a little bit more energy. That gets just sort of almost like a heat-seeking missile.
Yeah.
Taps into that same familial energy and just explodes into this fellow.
Okay.
And 2d10, 13 points of damage.
Ooh, nice. It goes slamming into him.
Are they currently within 120 feet, or do I need to spend the extra sorcery point to get there?
They are at 100. He's at 150. You could hold it. He's about to move. He's going to probably move into it if you'd like, and we can keep these rolls if you'd like.
No, I'll just spend the extra sorcery point just to
Okay.
make sure that it hits.
Yep,
now.
absolutely. You spend it, and it. Yeah, since you said you were doing the same as last time, I assume that's what you were doing.
Exactly.
So,
Yep.
no, it hits, and let's check real quick. On a 16. Cool. He keeps flying towards you quickly, but does absolutely take the damage of that spell. But you can see a moment his sort of eyes narrow, concentrating as he then comes blasting towards you with renewed vigor. Jad.
Okay, so I drew number 8, the Dictator. So again, I call like these ghostly stories, and this story, and number 8 is Tale of the Phantom. So there's this ghost of this like ancient king who like points at a prisoner saying like, you will never be seen again. And I channel that energy into Barzul, who I'm gripping with my knees, and Barzul turns invisible under us. Tale of the Phantom. So you are invisible until the end of your next turn, or you hit with an attack. If you hit a creature while you are invisible, the target will take extra necrotic damage and will become frightened. So yeah.
Okay.
I'm a sexy bard, everyone. I can do cool things.
I'm going to say, just for story reasons, that you all riding him, so I can still sort of see this phantomy outline, but basically has become like the phantom gargoyle.
Maybe a ghostly, like bloody sort of,
there's sort of this sort of very like that sort of blue ectoplasmic sort of wispy vapor coming off of this ghostly gargoyle that is now flying under you. With that everything you got, Jad?
Yeah, that's both my bonus and my standard.
So, Barzul, you've been sort of hit with this spell. They are about 150 feet away, so you wouldn't be able to get to them to hit them with attack this turn, I don't think. But what do you want to do?
I mean, I'm going to fly up 20 feet.
Okay.
Pick Tamarind up and drop him on the ledge.
Okay.
And then wheel back over.
I totally see this like as a swimmer flip turn.
Yeah. And as I gotta kick the wall to like and like push off.
Give me a strength check. I'll let you use that as like a jump action off the wall to give you some extra distance this time.
15, I think.
Yeah, sure. 15. No, I'll give you an extra 20 feet of movement from kicking off the wall.
Kicking off. And basically I want to kick off until I'm over one of them, and then just cannonball. If possible.
So I was gonna say,
because I don't know what the like.
So they're 150. They're at 150 feet away. 20 feet out. You use 20 feet up. I gave you an extra 20 feet, but you still would only have. You have a total of 80 feet if you dash, right?
Oh, I was gonna fall.
Well, yeah, but they're 150 feet horizontally.
Oh, I'm just wondering, like, are they 150 feet horizontally away, or
they're 150. They're 150 horizontally.
Barzul, can you drop something on their head or something? Because
you can sort of start. You can start that arc, and I'll let you correct for aim if you wanted to do that. That you want to sort of start the siege arc.
Yeah. That's what I'm gonna do.
Because that will also trigger my necrotic still.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sort of like. I won't be able to like. There's nothing I can like. I don't have range to that distance.
Yeah.
But. Yeah, I just want to sort of like kick off, and I'm just going to sort of like loop back
especially
around. Since
you're invisible to them, they're not seeing that you are sort of in that arcing thing over there, other than the fact you've got a vampire on your back.
Jad, you can get off if you want. I could have tossed you off as well.
Sure, okay. I'll roll off, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, you leap out, and sort of, as you let go of them, you sort of all just turn into sort of this wispy... just disappear like into the sky as you are. We'll say that you are setting yourself up to basically cannonball the F out of these people, which I was not expecting. So,
and the cool thing is they won't be able to aim anything at you because they have no idea you're there.
No idea you're coming. So Elias Sambarthany moves forward 30 feet so he can get in range. Two of y'all at least have been holding actions till he gets within 120 feet. So whoever's holding spells, you can go ahead and unleash.
Yeah, I might go ahead and start here just to see like what it does. But basically, Tamarind now on solid footing. As soon as he sees Sambarthany enter into a range that he can see, and his compatriots. So he's at like 120, and his compatriots are like 150.
So yeah, he's moved now. He's I can move the. I'll do this perspective thing. He's now moved sort of to the front.
Gotcha. That's perfect. Mwah. So basically, now that Tamron sees that San Barthene has at least approached enough that he can reach out with something, those two bright blue irises sink into a sea of black.
Ooh.
And he is going to allow that thing inside
Right next to me, right?
to take over. So yeah, Jad, you probably see Tamron go from being kind of panicky and twitchy, just like you were earlier, to now just kind of this stock still, completely in the zone as his bright blue eyes sink and become fully caked over with black. And he's going to enter his form of dread. So as a bonus action, he takes on that wild, weird, discomforting exterior that's just hard to put into words and hard to be around, truly.
It's this sort of uncanny valley feeling. Jod, the closest thing you have felt to it is when you've truly felt yourself inside of that cloaked figure, of just that empty evil. And again, that while it's not focused on you, you can still feel sort of that drag on your soul as though it's being pulled into whatever this Tamron is channeling next to you.
So he does this and he feels this almost empowered self as that blood red, blackish mix of magic begins to swirl over him. He does get 8 temporary hit points as he enters this, but then as per usual, when the thing inside takes over, an arm shoots out in a stiffward motion, aimed directly at San Barthene, and he is going to cast a spell directly at San Barthene, but with a range that includes his 2 compatriots. So I'm going to need, I believe it's wisdom saving throws from all 3.
Eek!
Okay, so from Elspeth and Rakesh?
Oh, no.
Oh, no, from all 3 of them. Oh, golly. Okay.
Oh.
Oh, shit. God, do you have chain lightning or something horrible like that? So what do you need?
Wow, I love
Wisdom,
this.
You need wisdom saves? Oh,
Wisdom saving throws from the 3.
Okay, so Sam Barthene, he got a dirty 20.
There you go.
The Gargoyle Guard got an 18.
Wow.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. And they're just getting good rolls. Ooh, but the lieutenant got a 7.
Right. So at least with the lieutenant, he does feel something take over his body. I'm picturing that same darkish blood red magic that surrounds Tamron now begins to surround him as well. And he feels almost like time come to a standstill briefly, like a as he is now affected by the slow spell.
Oh,
yes!
His speed is halved. His AC has -2. His dex saves take a -2, and he can only do 1 action or 1 bonus action each turn.
Yeah.
And if he decides to cast a spell, we'll see if he does it or not.
The nod.
So,
Yeah, no.
Love that spell.
You see it sort of somehow sort of shield its way, bounce off of San Barthene. You see the gargoyle, just its stone form, but you just watch as it looks as though the lieutenant just is encased in like molasses or amber. And this sort of full-on charge that he was doing just starts to drop and drift behind as he is slowed, and it is his next turn. Does he get to do a save each time, or is it just kind of he's screwed?
no, let me read that here real quick.
I'm assuming it's like at the end of his turn, maybe.
Each target must succeed. This is not to be affected by the spell. At the end of each of its turns, can make
Okay. So he can only move half his speed, so he can't dash. He can't do that. So yeah, you see him fall. He was at 150.
Ooh. Actually, before it's his turn, Rakesh also had. Did you
Oh
just
yeah,
add
I'm
to
sorry.
forego
Yeah, absolutely.
your
You were
action?
holding a spell as well. Sorry.
How close are they all together?
They are within 30 feet of
Always a
each
good thing to
other,
hear.
and Sam Barthene is within 120 feet of you.
They're
Maybe
all
a little
within
bit
30.
closer because you were sort of trailing
Yeah.
behind them.
Okay.
What range
So
do you
if
need? I mean, what range do you need? If you need 100 feet, we can fudge that a little bit.
No, I mean it's 90 feet. So if he comes
90,
within 90 feet,
I can't give you 90.
that's okay.
Yeah.
Let's see if I have maybe I have 120 feet. I don't think I do.
Yeah, I have very few spells with high range, like message.
No, I don't, but that's okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, as he moves into range, you are unable to get anything off. However, he was not affected by that spell, so he does get to get his spell off. What do we got? Oh, I know what he's going to do. So, boy, he's actually going to change his plans a little bit, seeing what he thinks is a high-powered magic user suddenly.
Oh, he sees Tamarin, right?
Oh yeah, he's definitely felt it having to shake off that shell by
Right.
the little guy. First his eyes sort of were on this.
Oh no, maybe I should have protected Tamarin instead.
Cameron got 10 hit points of that too.
As
No,
long as
this
he
is a
can't
smart
do 9
guy.
damage, we're fine.
I think this is a smart guy. He definitely he knows he doesn't want to hurt Elspeth, even though he's mad at her. Rakesh at this point has not done anything to him, but this little figure up there has. So he is going to
And he can't see Buzz.
cast magic missile. It didn't ask me to upcast it. Well, that stinks.
That's okay. I'll take the 5. That's okay.
Yeah, he actually was gonna cast it at third level. So no, he would not cast it at third level. He's saving that for later. He's cast it at second level. So it's just one extra D4 plus 1. D4 plus 1. With a 4. So you actually take 10 points of force damage as you see these magic missiles come shooting off of his hand out there towards you, up on the wall. Since you sort of seem to be giving cover, is slow a concentration spell. I need you to make me a con save to see whether you just have to make a 10 or better.
Five.
Oh, no. So the slow spell would fall. Let's think of order of operations here. You were holding it before this round, the top of this round. So yeah, unfortunately, you see Ephraim basically stall out for a second, being forced into it, but then sort of gathers himself together. We will say he lost. He's not able to dash, but he's not stuck to all the other pieces. So he falls a little bit behind, or actually he's not able to move forward as much as the others. So he moves in 30 feet and... Man, I thought he was going to catch up to you all faster. So yeah, no, he's not gonna be able to catch up and do anything. The gargoyle, however, does sprint ahead, moving its full movement speed. So it has a 60 fly speed. So sort of seeing this spell and feeling it, and now going out to protect, he's going to move 120 feet forward. So he moves within 30 feet of the
Us too?
of the party, of all of y'all.
Oh, well, that's good then.
So up on both Rakesh and Elspeth still flying, moving up the wall, and Tamarin and Jad actually, would he get into melee? He would not get into melee this turn because he would have had to dash to do it anyway.
Would that put him in range of Rakesh's spell? Rakesh.
Yes.
Technically it would, but he's not going to cast because it's not the trigger he was looking for.
Okay, gotcha. So the gargoyle now is way up in the front, sort of up in y'all's faces. How much do we love my gift gargoyle? I can't.
Yeah, I really
Sweet.
think it's cool.
Dude,
So
I didn't
cool.
realize they would that it would let you do a GIF token. So I'm
It's
really
super
cool.
happy.
Yeah, it's really nice.
So gargoyle is 30 feet away for the unload crew. So Tam, it's back to you because you had held your spell before. Currently, the lineup is the gargoyle 30 feet away. You've got Ephraim Sambarthne, I'm sorry, Elias Sambarthne is at about 120 feet out, and the lieutenant is back there at. He just moved forward some, so he's at about 120 feet out.
Gotcha. Yeah. There's not much Tam can do, and he's kind of actually into the idea of people getting closer. So I think really he's gonna take he's gonna take an Eldritch Blast shot at San Barthene, that blood red magic coming off his hand and firing at him. And that is going to be a 23 to hit. Okay, cool.
Oh yeah.
All right, and then that is D10, which is right here, for 7 points of damage as it fires off at him.
Level 5, don't you get 2 bolts?
Is that how that? It's showing up as 1d10 in my.
You get 2 attacks.
Check the class feature. Yeah, check the class feature.
Oh, gotcha. Sorry.
Yeah. So I think level 5 it goes up to being that it's 2 individual shots.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
right, so a second
roll
round.
Roll a second one.
Nice. And a natural 1. So.
Okay. So only 1, but what was the damage on that?
Just 7.
Just 7. But he's still got to play the game. He's got to roll the dice. Oh shit. On a 9, you see Sam Barthene begin to plummet. As he loses concentration.
While he's plummeting, actually, can he also make a wisdom saving throw?
Oh!
Yeah, he sure can.
He was saving that 3rd level spell to not die.
And that's a natural 1 on his wisdom saving throw.
He is now frightened of what Tamron has become.
Oh, Nikes.
He's
Okay.
frightened and plummeting down.
Yeah, so Sam Barthene, you see him just kind of like, we'll put him at the bottom of the screen as he begins to plummet out of the sky as he has lost concentration. You know that's exactly why he was saving that 3rd level spell slot. So he's going to plummet for a little bit. Rakeesh, you are up.
Okay. All right. How close am I to getting Elspeth to the cliff top where I could possibly put Elspeth down?
You can get her in this round.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. So with just using your movement, you could put her down.
All right. So I think like as he's flying up and holding on to or at least they're tied together, it's probably rockety. I feel bad for Elspeth because like if they're going straight up, that means like your feet are like probably kicking off the side of the cliff now and then.
Elspeth is like doing her best to hang on so tight.
He spins around and like twists the rope, and once he sees the mage start to fall, not sure, like in his mind, well, that's over. That mage isn't coming back, right? And he hits a short bow, he turns and he uses steady aim, and he's going to take a shot at, because the gargoyle has wings, but the human doesn't have wings, right?
Do me a perception check. It won't use any of your action or bonus action.
Okay, cool. A 14.
On a 14, he's close enough. I mean, he's about like I said, he just now got into the 120 foot range. But you do notice, and you would be able to spot these because of having been in the army. You've seen officers use these before. You see there are wings on his boots.
Oh, okay. That's good. Yeah, okay. Then in that case...
Oh, I know exactly what I want to do next. Sorry.
In that case, I'm going to use my bonus action to continue that spiraling, burning sand that's in the shape of the fire serpent. It's like chasing them up as they're flying up. It's flying up with them and like spiraling around them to give Elspeth the help action again.
Okay.
Same thing, spite. And I'll just take a regular shot with my bow.
I'm having way too much fun with my heads up display.
24.
Okay, and this is going. I'm sorry. I was having too much fun with my tokens.
Oh, it's okay.
Who are we shooting?
I'm shooting the human.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, 24 definitely hits.
Yeah. 4 piercing damage.
Yep, 4 more piercing damage.
But he will have disadvantage on any attacks he makes.
Gotcha. Cool. That everything for you?
Yeah, just get Elspeth up to the top and like cut, like if I can, try to cut the rope or untie
You can
it.
do that. Interact with the object is a free action, so you can sort of cut the rope, and you're flying. Elspeth, you are up on the sort of cliff face with Tamarind, Jod, Tamarind and Jod Barzul.
A terrifying Tamarind.
Yeah, terrifying Tamarind. Because you happen to be a divine soul, give me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh no, because Tamarind is there.
I'll give you an advantage with this because you've
Follow
seen it
form.
before. Yeah, you two are diametrically opposed, being of Eldath and the Hallowed.
Saving throw
Advantage.
At advantage, yep.
with advantage, so that's a 13 and an 8.
On a 13.
Is that a fail?
What are you? You're 14, aren't you? Is that a yes? So you're 14?
16?
I'm 15 total, like when it comes
Okay.
to saving throws.
Okay, so you can't get any closer to Tamarind, and it definitely is unsettling. But yeah, you definitely feel it. You definitely feel that same. It's actually very similar to when you tried to heal the tree, and it was that sort of pulling sensation
Yeah.
on you. I can't have everything go your way.
On the plus
That's
side, now
fine.
that you're on solid ground, your walking speed has increased by 10 feet.
Yes,
Hey!
it has.
Now you can walk further away from me.
And truly, I mean, you do know that range does help with these things. So, that was Rakeesh. Elspeth, you are up there. You are, we'll say, about 15 feet away from Tamarind, sort of feeling this pool of this form, and you can see sort of this black, sort of deep reddish purple, sort of almost like a bruise, magic sort of flowing off of him.
Yeah, Elspeth is a little put off by that, but tries to steel herself and put it out of her mind because there's a more important enemy in the sky right now, and Elspeth is going to try and grab onto that fire again and lash it out at the human.
The lieutenant
not
or
the
the
one,
falling
the
witch?
lieutenant.
Okay,
Not the one that's falling.
Okay. Cool. So yeah.
Again, the thought is that might be taken care of.
Yeah. So he's 120, so you won't need to use a sorcery.
So we're gonna. It's still with advantage because the upkeep.
Yep. 23 definitely hits.
Okay. So we are going to roll 2d10, and that's 12 points of fire damage.
Another 12 points slams into the lieutenant as not bloodied, but he's getting determined that he's tired. He's tired of getting hit and not being able to hit back. Anything else you'd like to do?
You said that they are currently.
Gargoyle is 30
yeah.
feet away. The Sambarthane is falling, plummeting out of the sky. He's at about 90 feet away, and Ephraim's at the lieutenant's at about 120 feet away.
Is that no? It's not. For my bonus action, because I can cast a full spell and a cantrip, correct?
Yep, absolutely.
So for my bonus action, I would like
Quicken
to
spell?
not quicken. Actually, no, I can't. Never mind. That's gonna be my turn.
Okay,
I thought I might be able to, but I don't think it's gonna work.
cool. Jad,
So the gargoyle is 30 feet away from me,
30 feet away from you.
and gargoyles understand the languages I can speak. More like they speak common.
From what you know, Barzul speaks common, so certainly all gargoyles speak common, right?
Oops. Okay. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna need a free action and call out to the gargoyle and say, "Hey, what are you looking at?" To see if I can see some comprehension on its face.
And you yell out in common.
Yes.
You see no comprehension on it.
Oh, damn. Great. I have no idea what this thing will speak. Okay, well then instead of casting suggestion to steal the flying shoes, which was my first idea, which would have been really fun.
That would have been fun.
It would
Sorry.
have been
Yeah,
really
no,
fun.
I had to look up what his languages were, and there's only one listed there, and it's not
And
common.
I speak like 4 languages, but I'm not going to stand there yelling at it in 4 different languages. That'll take
Yeah.
my whole turn, 6 seconds. Instead, he so the lieutenant is hundreds of feet away, right? Or
About
120
120 feet away, yeah.
Okay, so I can only target the gargoyle. I am going to reach into its mind, and I'm going to cast Phantasmal Force on it.
Okay.
Which means he has to make me a DC 15 intelligence saving throw.
Oh, Nikes.
And I'm like, gargoyles aren't good at that, so.
No, they're not. That'd be a 2.
Okay, so in its mind, the gargoyle. So I'm inspired by that Whomping Willow thing that the ghost told me. So
Yeah.
in its mind, the trees underneath it stretch into the air, start tangling around it and yanking it down to the. Sorry, I got really excited. Yanking it down into the ground, and the spell says that it will, if it's failed the saving throw, it tries to do what it thinks the illusion is doing. So
Okay.
if the trees are yanking it down, it will start falling.
Yeah, no, you basically see it stop flapping its wings as though it's been wrapped up in, that it has no way to flap its wings. And yeah, whoop, we now have him falling too.
And Elspeth,
Oh, look,
you
he
can
still flaps even when he's going sideways.
Elspeth, because I'm doing a concentration spell. If you see me, because Tamron is too in his own world, you see I'm biting my lip and blood is dripping down my mouth, but also because I'm concentrating out of my tear ducts.
We're so cheery.
We're such like a happy-go-lucky party.
And as a note to everyone, the spell can do damage because it affects their mind so much. So next round, it will take damage.
So we've got 2 people plummeting out of the sky. Boy, y'all, this is going good for y'all. Dear Lord, and Barzul, you are invisible.
Speaking of plummeting out of the sky.
out of the sky, you're invisible and up above them, sort of arcing over. Yeah, who are you gonna hit? I mean, we're just gonna let this. We're gonna let this happen. You took a turn to set it up. You tell me you want to hit. You've just got all you got to do. You're gonna have to roll me a d20 to hit him.
So you like
Alright.
pop into existence, by the way. You like go whoop suddenly into existence.
Yeah, and you see it's like normally wings are out when flying. No, it is just like wings arrowed back like a falcon diving out of the sky.
Ooh, like a strop.
Yeah. I think Ephraim deserves this.
Okay. So the lieutenant, you're going for the lieutenant or at San Barthene?
The lieutenant.
Okay.
He's the lieutenant's the only one not falling at the moment.
That's true. He is the only one not falling.
And he was my target originally, so
So let's think about this. So what is the you're freaking 8 feet tall. I mean, you're throwing yourself bodily at him. Just
I am
me-
super.
I was gonna
super
say, roll me a attack. Roll me. It's just it's basically an unarmed attack, but it's not gonna be unarmed attack damage. You're attacking him with your body. So it's attack roll a d20 plus your strength modifier. Yeah, sounds right to
Yeah.
me. Plus your proficiency, because we said that this was something a gargoyle knows how to do to be a siege.
Yep.
So
Dive vomit.
And I feel like I'm pretty reckless in this moment, so I am gonna recklessly attack as I rage.
Oh,
So bonus
I
action
love it.
rage.
100%. This definitely qualifies as reckless attacking.
That is an 18 on the die.
Okay.
So a 24 to hit.
So yeah, 24 definitely hits. So let's look at this arc. You went up 20 feet. You went up so I'm being an engineer for a second. I actually could do the actual math of this, but I'm going to say that you're falling from at least. I'm going to say. You know what? My gut feel is if you were 20 feet up, you arced up for a full turn. That means that you probably at least went another 40 feet up. He was below you. I was gonna say somewhere between 6 and 8, 60 and 80 feet. So I'm gonna say 70. Roll me 7d6.
Wait, are you
as this
doing
is
the-
basically fall damage. You are
Oh,
a
you're doing
giant
the
boulder
falling
falling out of the sky
damage onto him.
of a gargoyle onto
yeah.
him.
5.
I really wasn't thinking you were going to get a chance to use this.
Oh, I'm so excited. Like this moment happened, and I was like, I have to embrace this. Like,
I'm gonna imagine
Well, because you're invisible too, so I mean,
Yeah,
he does
so-
not see this coming. There is no deck save to this.
Sneak attack damage.
It's look at our rogue gargoyle go. I was gonna say 76 is what level rogue is pretty high.
so only one of them is below a 4.
Oh my god!
Ooh.
So that's 15. Just gotta check. Totaling 38 points of damage.
Okay. Ugh. You also weigh about 2,500 pounds, as we discussed before.
So and I'm gonna hold the fuck on.
I was gonna say, I'm assuming you're wrapping this guy. So, dude, explain to me how you are riding this guy into the ground, because you are also about 200 feet in the air. You basically are now a 2,000-pound boulder pinned this guy as the two of you all are falling to the ground, because there's no way those boots of flight are going to keep you aloft. So
Yeah, I
paint
think
me a picture, my friend, as you're about to make noble, royal family paste on the rocky ground below.
All right, so I think what people see is nothing, and then Barzul, like a stone arrow from the sky, and at first he just slams into him, like claws first into the breastplate, like digging hands into like punching into the breastplate, and then the whole body just like wrapping in and just like spinning down, like wings are tucked in. Yeah, and just like and I'm just like holding the arms as it just plummets.
Okay. So he does get to do one thing, because he does have a reaction. So he is going to do his shield bash as a react. Oh, no, it's on a miss. You hit. Never mind. He can't do that. Never mind. He has
I was like,
one
"Please,
last
I
thing.
have a
He's got
reaction
one.
too."
He's got one last thing that he might be able to do to save himself. But is that it? That's probably it.
I'm gonna
I mean,
point
is
out
that-
in the chat, Ace of Sweden says, "quote Who's mounting who now?"
Can we just add bitch? Anyway. Yeah, I think that's enough. I think Barzul's done enough.
I mean, I have 2 attacks around,
You can't
It's
fall out
fine.
of the sky twice.
Yeah.
Anyway, next up is Elias, who is falling out of the sky. He's got to pull his shit together to cast a spell. He's trained. He's probably fallen for it. I'm not going to make him do a roll to actually redo it, but he's taking his turn, absolutely, to get himself flying again. He has fallen a good 50 or 60 feet, as you do when your fly spell cancels. But he is going to use a 3rd level spell slot, the one he saved, to save himself. Yeah, so that's his turn. He does not have a bonus action. Movement-wise, I think he gets his bearings. He sort of stops himself and sees Barzul and the lieutenant go by him. He's actually going to start chasing you down. Because he worked. He at this point he's here to protect the royal family. Everything else be damned, because this is bad. That's his turn. So he moves down, chasing Sambarthne, changing Greymont. Greymont, wrapped up.
Yeah, if it's smart enough, if you think it would examine the illusion, it can use its entire action to make an investigation check.
Oh, on the
against my
gargoyle?
DC.
Yeah.
The gargoyle. Yeah.
So first we've got the lieutenant.
I thought Gray was the
Yeah.
gargoyle. Sorry.
Greymont is the last name.
Right.
So he sort of this gargoyle who's carrying him to the ground. He looks you in the eye and goes, "Gargoyle, obey."
Oh!
I need you to make a willpower saving throw as every fiber of your being starts to kick in from
It's a 20.
Oh! What do you say back to him when you feel your body respond? Literally every crystal of the stone that makes up your body lines up like a magnet, like a lodestone, ready to do this. One of the royal family's bidding. Your prime directive.
I just sort of like bellow in his face, "Never," and then headbutt him.
Can you imagine you're this guy and you're this stone person, you're headbutting someone with a stone skull?
Yeah, no, this is bad. So the gargoyle, I'm gonna just make him do an intelligence just to see whether he even thinks to investigate.
Yeah.
Because on a 5, nope.
So,
Gargoyles are expendable. He's like, oh well, guess this is me. He keeps falling to the ground. So Tamarind, the gargoyle has fallen to the ground. You see these people plummeting out of the sky. You do see Sam Barthene is now sort of falling, chasing down after Barzul and the lieutenant. Still within range, probably of a 120-foot spell, but not much anything with a shorter range than that.
Pop. 2 blasts.
At this point, I'm hoping that you knock him out of
That's
concentration.
a 25 and an 18.
Both will hit. Roll me that damage.
Whoa.
So that's a 9 and a 9. So 18. Just that magic shoots out once again, slamming into him just like last round.
Yep.
Tamarind is determined to clip this bird's wings.
Yep, and that is 2 Constitution saving throws. Both, it's 10. You never know. On a 15, he makes the first one. The first one goes in. He shakes it off. Shit. The second one, you see him lose his concentration and begins to plummet again down towards the floor below. Anything else you want to do?
I'm good, man.
Rakeesh, you're flying. You've got freedom of movement. You have your full speed, which is, you can move 120 feet in a turn if you want. You see this unfolding in front of you. Gargoyle, mage, and lieutenant in the arms, in the loving embrace of Barzul. Within.
I'm sorry, Chad.
A round before they're gonna go splat.
How's the mage look?
The mage looks bloodied. He's seeing the wounds of Tamarind's spells. You can see he tattered, falling. You do absolutely recognize him in the face as a relation of the person who ambushed you and who spoke within you in your mind, or assume you spoke with you in your mind.
And how far away is he from me?
He is, let's see, he started going down from where you are. We're going to say I'll say 90 feet. We'll say he's about 90 feet below you. You could also have your movement speed, so you can move 60 feet to get within 30 feet of him.
Okay. Rakeesh, after he drops Elspeth off, he spins around and then Barzul drops right in front of him. I imagine Rakeesh almost flies into the space that Barzul dropped through.
Yeah.
Right? Because he just changed directions. And so he's spinning around in the air. This is unusual for him. Once he steadies himself up there and realizes I don't really have to work that hard. I can just kind of hover here if I want. He sees the spells go flying down at this mage, and he reaches into his pouch again, and he takes out another handful of sand, and he speaks. He doesn't know if the mage can hear him, but he speaks in his mind, and he says, "Tell your brother I said hello."
Oh no,
And
you're so mean.
he blows dust into the air. In his mind, these mages are responsible for the conclave being destroyed, like a lot of things.
Oh
A
yeah,
lot
you
of
know,
bad
you know that
things.
they, that horrible thing that happened to the refugee, everything in that tower, all those surgical procedures, what broke your hope last night?
And so like he made the decision earlier today to not go down and like confront them, to instead like get everybody up to the druids. But here in this moment, this is like one thing he can do to get justice or revenge or whatever it is. He's pumping full of adrenaline because he's been flying for the last little while, and he casts sleep on the mage.
Oh wow, that is
Do it,
just
Puddin'.
dang.
Take a nap, bro.
Fall, baby,
That
fall.
is
Fall, baby,
just
fall.
harsh.
So this dust, the sand spirals down, not now in the form of anything but a multicolored like rainbow that's seeking out the already falling mage and entering his pores, his ears, his eyes, his nose, his mouth, anywhere it can enter into his body. Does 17 hit points do it?
How do you want to do this? Finish off this scene.
I want him to know it was Rakeesh and there to be eye contact. And then I would love just for Rakeesh to hover there as he watches him like drop through the sky, through the clouds, the mist. And there's just a little echo somewhere far, far down below when there's finally contact making its way back up. Barzul would hear it first.
Oh yeah, no, you see his eyes just begin to flutter, and then that unconsciousness take him, and there's not even an attempt anymore. He is just free falling to the ground. Elspeth, this is kind of unfolding in front of you. It's getting further away. I mean, what would you like to do as these people who were chasing you, one who you had heard was going to take you away, another who had done these horrible atrocities, and their gargoyle buddy are just kind of crashing towards the ground.
And I think Elspeth just drops down to a knee and just justice.
Nice.
And just lets Rakeesh exact what vengeance he can from this moment.
Yeah. So yeah, they you sort of watch again, just as eyes flutter back. There's this weird sort of reaching out as he sort of was tumbling backwards, almost reaching for your hand, the ring, which he had scryed on you with, knowing it is on your finger, as he just tumbles backwards, sort of into this canyon below.
Into oblivion in more than one way.
Jad, anything that you're wanting to do is this is basically.
So they're all just finishing?
I mean, you're, I guess, holding concentration on your spell? Or
on the gargoyle, yeah.
Yeah, no, so you need to kind of keep concentrating on it until he hits the ground.
Sure, that means I'm going to make the vines crush him. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to make the vines grow into his mouth and down his stone esophagus. So whatever damage type that is, he takes 1d6 of that.
Okay. Yeah, so he still has plenty of hit points for now,
right.
but not for long.
Yeah.
You can sort of see it looks like he's starting to choke. Again, the big thing is that his wings aren't flapping, and as he falls.
And I love it that he's choking himself.
Yeah,
in reality.
It's like, there's nothing there. Barzul, finish this off for us. As you're falling, you sort of look over and see the sleeping form of Sambarthane falling next to you. You see the panic as after the headbutt, you sort of see the panic in the lieutenant's eyes. I mean, you certainly, after all your years, you know you're about to kill a member of the royal family, and all the implications of that.
Have you done that?
I was just gonna
before?
ask, have I done this before?
No, you probably have not.
Okay.
I mean,
Oh.
this could be a bucket list for a Thargan bucket list for sure.
I think in the depths of his mind, he thinks Temrin says to try new things and just drives him into the ground.
Oh,
Oh my
man.
god!
Yeah,
Oh
no.
my god!
You know, as the ground approaches, the sort of panic in Ephraim as he's almost can't quite fathom that this is his end, and by a gargoyle. And that's the last thing you see as 2,500 pounds of your stony form just obliterate him underneath of your weight. And with that, combat comes to an end as you are standing there up above, Barzul down below, Rakeesh sort of floating in midair, and the rest of you on this path. From the map, and I just say, oh, you watch also the gargoyle right behind them just hits the ground and just shatters into a million pieces.
And I think Barzul is going to sort of pick himself up, like stone that's like erupted out, just sort of falling off of his form,
Yeah.
and look up the huge cliff face to his companions. And then just sort of let out like a bellowing, like roar, like echoing through the sort of canyon.
Yeah. For sure. It absolutely echoes across this area, and you all sort of stand there. I don't know. Tell me where you are mentally. You are on solid ground, which is good. You still have time on a fly spell and with Gargoyle. So if you want to still pick up time, but where...
I think
Yeah.
emotionally.
Let's do a mental check-in with everyone.
Yeah, I don't think emotionally we'd be like, okay, let's keep going, team. Wee.
Team building exercises.
I think after the adrenaline and the moment has passed, Elspeth is going to realize that Tamarind is right next to her and begin to run away from Tamarind.
Okay. I believe that lasts for a full minute, right, Bird?
Yeah, it's a full minute, or I believe I can
You
dispel
can
it
drop
when I
it, I
choose
believe, as
to.
well. So,
And I think basically how it works is it sticks around to survey the scene and completely understand that all immediate threats are done and dealt with. And how it kind of shakes off, I think those bright blue eyes like resurface in that sea of blackness. And I mean, almost kind of mirroring like Elspeth, like hitting her knees, like Tamarind, exhausted physically from the strain that puts on him, like crumples down before I
I'm
think
gonna say for the
completely
first
like
time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the first time Jad catches you.
nice.
He
I
doesn't
think
do this very often, but Jad catches you as you fall.
he is kind of limp in your body. He's not unconscious or anything. You can tell it's just that like physical fatigue has taken over him. And once again, he's like meeting your eyes, and there's this look of, God, I want to call it like remorse, almost. Just what had to have happened happened, but there's like almost a swelling of like tears in his eyes. He's not crying. They're not coming down his cheek or anything, but he just has those glazed over eyes, his brows slightly furrowed in the middle upwards, and he's just looking at you.
Jad sees that you're so upset. He grabs your chin and turns your face so you're looking into his eyes, and he brings his mouth close to you. You can smell that his breath smells of blood because he just bit his lip open, right? And he says, "The hunger is never your fault." And like a drop of blood drips onto your face from his cut lip.
And you'll feel a very faint and weak arm reach around your back, giving you the weakest hug he can possibly muster.
Tamarind, do me a wisdom saving throw at advantage.
I'm so excited what this means. I don't know. While I'm holding you.
It's a 15.
Nice. You feel that presence leave you and slip away. But there is still that longing with you from the book the other night, the way you hugged it close, just the idea that there was someone else like you that you never knew before. And you follow the line, this tether sort of out into the world, sort of across the battlefields, out into the wasteland. Further and further away, you just sort of, this thread of connection. And then you find yourself corporeal. You feel like you're inside someone's body. The same perspective as you, the same height off the ground, striding forward. You see the entrance of a cave that's been blocked with a door. In front of it, you see two guards, the wave. You see both of them just crumple to the ground. It steps forward, rips the door off the hinges. You see them put their hand up on there, and you see the three fingers as they stride into a similar looking chamber with surgical tables and cages all around it. And then you flash back to where you're looking up at Jad. The connection with Subject 14 broken.
Tamarind and myself, I think, need a minute to process that.
That's fine. Let's go around to the other folks. Elspeth, Rakeesh, Barzul, as you fly back up, I assume. Are you hanging out down bottom?
Let Rakeesh and Elspeth.
I think Rakeesh is floating there for a minute, and he feels the need to keep flying up, but he sees like his companions are scattered, and so he watches his past drop down until he can't see those figures anymore, and he spreads his arms out and he just sort of floats, almost like he's floating in a pool. He's kind of floating up at an angle because he realizes now that he's flying and now that they're ascending, he can see something he hasn't been able to see in a few days. If he just flies out far enough, he can actually see over the angle of the mountain he hopes to see the beacon.
And you can.
And so he kind of just floats away from the edge of the cliff until he can see the beacon in full. And he stops there and stretches out like he's laying down on a cloud, but it's just thin air. And he says, just very quietly, "I promise I will find you, and I will not be alone." And he just stays there, and then he hears something, conversation with Jod, or just like an echo of Elspeth running down the cliffside. And he takes in a breath, and he manages a tiny smile and puts his hands behind his head, and he like flips around and flies and begins to float back down to the group, feeling he's enchanted by magic, and he might never feel this way again, and he's just trying to enjoy it as much as he can.
As you are under Elspeth's spell, as you look at the beacon, it's almost like your vision zooms in on it, and what you had always assumed was a flickering flame, you see it's not that at all. It is a giant blue crystal in the shape of a tear. It's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen.
He tries to do the thing that you do when you freeze an image in your mind. He knows how fallible memories are, how temporary truth and reality and stories are, but probably for the first time in this world, he does his very best to freeze like an image of something. The last time he did it was that moment with Dalvin, when Dalvin came to him when he was leaving, and he saw that look in his eyes. So he's trying to hold on to that and take a deep breath and get the high, high altitude air in his lungs, and return to his companions, his friends, and give them some fruit so they can continue on.
Okay. Elspeth running.
Elspeth realizes after a short while that the fear has left and feels a moment of shame that she let it grip her so tight. I'm not going to run away again. We're close. I can feel it. Okay. And then she steels herself, takes a quick, some deep inhalations and exhalations, and just clutches the pendant and makes her way back to Tamarind and Jod.
As you breathe in, it's almost like you're breathing that high altitude air. There's this connection through the spell with Rakeesh, and just an instant as he tries to freeze the image in his mind, you don't know what it is, you don't know where it's coming to you, but you get this image of this beautiful blue glowing crystal tear.
And I look down to the pendant.
Oh yeah.
And I see that it might be glowing a little bit.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Almost there. We did the baby steps. Now it's time for the big ones. And Elspeth is going to return.
Okay. We've given you some time to process anything. You want to just leave it where it is, Bird? We can visit it next time. We're almost out of time, but I'm happy to let you have a last moment. Finish us off for the evening.
You're currently in my arms.
I know, and I'm trying to figure out what exactly he wants to say.
You need an extra moment because I can give you Barzul's.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's do
Barzul.
Yeah.
Drop the hammer.
I think Barzul sort of standing over these bodies. And I think for the first time, he realizes that he's killed countless. But this is the first time he feels like it matters. And he sort of surveys them And a little bit of that instinct kicks in to look for anything of value. And we'll spend a little time doing that, but eventually sort of we'll do that sort of climbing, sort of jumping, flying, sort of like wings, and will eventually sort of pull himself off the ledge with whatever he's found. And as he sees his companions, he just sort of like almost like pulls himself up, rolls into a sort of sitting position, and begins to laugh. Just this deep and it's like, it's jovial, it's not dark or like, it's strange because it's a gargoyle, but he just laughs and sort of like rolls onto his back and looks up at the sky. And I think that's it for him.
Okay.
Quick and simple here. Jad, you'll see Tamrin's eyes go from staring directly into yours to zoned out for a moment as he has that vision, and eventually they will lock back into yours, and probably hear the sounds of Barzul laughing, cackling. A quick glance in the direction of Elspeth, Rakeesh, and will return his gaze to you. And internally for him, not only has he seen the one person in the world who would truly understand him and his experiences, but he also has to reflect on the fact that not too long ago, when he entered this form, it sent Rakeesh running. And now here he is, held in your arms, encouraged, welcomed, and accepted, truly as someone else who understands that power and that hunger taking over. And those glossy eyes that have been fighting back tears as you held him, you finally see it break, and you see a few roll down his cheeks. And he looks at you and with a very faint smile, revealing that crooked, toothy grin, just very faintly says, "Not alone."
And Jad smiles and licks your tear up.
It was so nice. And with that, we will end our tonight's session of the Hall. Hope everyone had a great time. We'll go around real quick. We're a little bit over, but boy, was it worth it. Let's meet our players and find out where we can find them out on the interwebs and stuff. We will start with Bird.
I'm Bird. You can find me at Bird vs. Plane basically everywhere. So much fun. What a wild session tonight. I can't believe you're one left.
Next up, Carl.
You can find me on Twitter at Carl Nelson. I just actually found out that my adventure I wrote in the fall, Barreling Forward, hit silver bestseller on DM's Guild, which I didn't know that was a thing. But yeah, cool. Otherwise, I love this group. This was amazing. Also, I'm just so happy I got to do that.
That was awesome.
That was so lovely. That was so lovely, Carl.
Yeah.
Also, the dice really told what happened there. It's
Oh,
like,
100%. That was great. Next up, Don.
Hey everybody, I'm Don, at Donathan Fry on Twitter. I write and run games. If you want to know more about what I do, you can find out there. But more or less, I loved everything about tonight. I loved the splatter. I loved the high-flying action. I loved all of the conversation and the buildup that led to it. I love those final moments. I can't wait to see how the story ends. It's come around so fast, but all the characters have come so far, and it's just been so much fun, and I've really enjoyed it. So thank you all very much, and I can't wait for next week.
Next up, Anita.
everybody. I was Elspeth Carter. I continue to be Anita or Panita or Critical Misses, so you can find me everywhere online, one of those places. Tomorrow I will be on Vancouver by Night for a game of Changeling the Dreaming called Tales from the Rookery. I'm also going to be running tech on Forest and Flame, which is a Humblewood game on my channel. And other than that, check me out on the internets. I'm around. I'm also working with Kobold Press. We're doing back with Into the Southlands, so you get to see me do the most anime campaign of all time, as opposed to this, which is like super serious.
And last
Wacky hijinks about.
And last but not least, Sharung.
So I'm Sharung Biswas. You can find me on Twitter at Sharung Biswas. And quick plug, in end of September, if you're in New York City, the Museum of the Moving Image has commissioned me to create a solo LARP for them called An Excavation of Light. So on a Saturday, if you check their website, there's gonna be a time where you can come in, play this game, interact with like museum educators who are going to be characters in the game. It's about like robots from the far future discovering humanity's lost artistic legacy, and check out some of my work. So if you're in the city, look out for the Museum of the Moving Images events.
Awesome. And I am Tall Squall. You can find me all over the place as Tall Squall. I'm just happy to be here. These folks are amazing. I've had an awesome time running this. For those of you who haven't seen out on Twitter, I am casting for the next one of these, which will be starting the second week in September. It is all about a sort of swashbuckling circus ship on its last voyage. We've been getting great character concepts so far. I'm super excited to run it and look forward to landing this one next week to see where we all end up. Until next time, everyone gather your friends together and tell a story, because that's what it's all about. Y'all have a great night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Woot woot!